times we never had. I want you to know there's nothing left. It's not the same without you. Now I'm paralyzed, lying cold and awake for too long, counting down the days, the moment when you'll realize. Take me back and I'll show you that I'll never forget you. Please remember me. This is not what we deserve. It's not forever. Won't forget you. We had everything, but I never appreciate. Now we stand here empty-handed. Yeah, we threw it all away. Will this ever end? It's not gonna change. You are broken and bent. I still fail. I fell right till the end, waiting for the days, the moments when I can say to you, take me back and I'll show you that I'll never forget you. Please remember me. This is not what we deserve. It's not forever. Well, at least I wonder, at least I try. No, I won't look back. There's a hurricane and it's closing in. No, I'm under attack. Come back. Come back. Come back. This is not what we deserve. It's not forever. It's not forever. Your lies, always the loudest. When I'm trying to do something great, I don't listen to you anymore. I moved on. I'm a young gun, reloading the moment you thought I was done. I've got the war won, fear is frozen, the balance been wrong. I'm the thorn inside your flesh, I terrorize your rest. I'm always miles ahead. I'm an outlaw, quick with the draw when I rip you apart. There's no pit stop, it's in the market just taking me off. Ride or die, I paralyze your thread. I crucify regret, step aside, who's next? You think that you know me, you thought you could hold me. You just don't know when to stop. You think you could fool me, but you never knew me. So come and take your next shot. You know you can't touch this, so don't throw your stones, 'cause you're not even close. You know you can't touch this. Yeah, you're moving too slow, so let it go. Let it go. No apology, the prodigy, honestly, it's been the god in me. Never stopping me, in it to win it, I'll always be killing it. You follow blind like suicide. Have you lost your mind? I reclaim my life. Sleep with one eye, open up, focus, you're joking, I'm golden. This is my time, chosen to get it, I own it and exit. I'm awake, I'm alive, and then I don't play pretend. Mercy never ends. You think that you know me, you thought you could hold me. You just don't know when to stop. You think you could fool me, but you never knew me. So take your best shot. Been through the rain, suffered the pain. You know this fighting never stops. You know you can't touch this. So come throw your stones, 'cause you're not even close. You know you can't touch this. Yeah, you're moving too slow, so let it go. Let it go. Fly into the air, light my eyes and take me there. Confetti, confetti, confetti floating everywhere. Show me how to find something to hold on tonight. Confetti, confetti, confetti cover us this time. Gonna fall to the night now, run away right now. Gonna fall to the night now, run away right now. Fall to the night, the night, the night. Fall to the night, the night, the night. Fall to the night, the night, the night. Fly into the air, light my eyes and take me there. Confetti, confetti, confetti floating everywhere. Show me how to find something to hold on tonight. Confetti, confetti, confetti cover us this time. Gonna fall to the night now, run away right now. Gonna fall to the night now, run away right now.
You can never take our hearts away. You can never silence what we say. You can't hold us down another day. The revolution is getting closer. Stand up, take a side. Now you know the truth can't be denied. I promise you we won't give up the fight. We're rising up until it's over.
Today's matchup, JD, Jaedong, Sa, Choi-Ho-Sung, Last, Kim Sung-hyun, Hero, Jo Il-jang. StarCraft League Brood War ASL Season 3, Round 16.
It's time to wrap up the round of 16 in this season of the ASL in the ASL. I'm Tasis. Joined with me is Artosis, and we've got some great games coming up for you guys tonight. I think the player everybody is most excited about, Jaedong. He's going to show us some kick-ass games, Artie.
The greatest Zerg of all time is actually a statement that does not do him justice. You talk about Flash being the greatest gamer of all time, but Flash doesn't really exist without Jaedong. He is the counterpoint around which Flash was built. He is just phenomenal in every way. There has never been as intense a competitor in esports as Jaedong.
He also has this X factor to him. He's so cool, the way that he holds his face. You can see there's like a lot of emotion behind it. He's really articulate when he's interviewed. He's very passionate about being the best in the world. and it's very important for him that he actually moves on tonight. But he's also not the only player we've got. Last here tonight is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
He may be getting out first. This is some are saying the best Terran in the world, even though Flash has been so dominant. A lot of players say they're most scared to play against Last.
Well, I have no doubt in my mind that Last will make it out of this group tonight. He is completely a monster. I would say second only to Flash. Probably across all races, he might be the second best player in the world right now next to Flash. Like, he is so unfathomably good. But will Jaedong make it out? I think you have to favor him to make it out. This guy's a monster. He brought Flash to 5 games last season.
That's right.
He was the closest guy to taking down Flash, in fact. So
he also knows how to play around his opponent's play style. He doesn't necessarily always win by brute force. A lot of times he just knows their weaknesses and counters it really, really well.
Yeah, he is the best Zerg at micro ever, the best Zerg at macro ever, and the smartest Zerg ever, all rolled into one. It's actually kind of madness how strong he is for this race and how important he is. So, like, I definitely, I would imagine Last will beat him just because he's so mechanically dominant right now. But, I mean, Jaedong, if he were to beat him, you should not be surprised.
Yeah. Sok and Hero are not to be underestimated, by the way. These guys are both phenomenal players. It's just this group is a little bit top-heavy.
Yeah. Now, Jaedong, he is really focused going into tonight. He actually took off the ASL team battle because of problems with his wrist. We haven't seen him around, but I guarantee you he is, like, so focused. I was in the makeup room with him, and he literally did not open his eyes one time. He just sat there straight up, eyes closed, composing himself until everything was ready.
Meditating,
yeah,
trying to pull it together as much as he can.
And, like, you can see the look on his face. Like, there could be a camera there or not. This is how he's going to look. He is, guys, there's, like, legends about his focus during games. The way he chants to himself that he's going to fucking kill his opponent, not joking.
Right. Yeah.
Just the crazy look in his eyes while he plays, the intensity is, I've watched like every StarCraft pro play like a million games, and no one comes close to matching what he brings.
Sok is a very good player. However, I feel he is overshadowed here by Jaedong in every way. And the funny thing is, when you think about a top Zerg like Jaedong, you imagine that, well, the one matchup they could lose is Zerg versus Zerg, but he doesn't lose Zerg versus Zerg.
That's his matchup.
We'll have to see how Sok can do against him. A lot of Terrans have gotten to the point where they're very good at denying the Zerg the third base, the third gas. Yeah. And Zerg can't really operate against Terran without having that. But if there's anybody who can get a third base up no matter what against even the very best Terrans in the world, it would be Jaedong.
Well, especially look at this map, Andromeda. You're going to at least have a third base being a mineral base. And, like, Jaedong is the king of lings, right? And he's also the king of scourges and mutas. So I think that there shouldn't be too much problem with him securing extra bases. If Sok is to take this victory, I'm not even sure how he would go about doing such a thing. To plan out a victory against Jaedong on this map, that's a tall order.
Certainly it is. We are moments away from starting this game up. Let's see how the two players open. Is either one going to try to rush? I think there's a chance that Sok might try something like that to pull a fast one and try to maneuver around Jaedong. Hope that maybe perhaps Hero takes him on in the losers match and Hero gets lucky. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of the hardest days in Sok's pro gaming career going up against Jaedong. And of course for Jaedong, the expectations are very, very high, as he is certainly hungry to become the next champion here in the ASL. A lot of people here tonight, man. It is really packed in our studio. Introducing our players in the bottom right. In the brown, it's Jaedong. And in the upper right, in the white, are Terran players, Sok.
Nothing could be as exciting as Jaedong getting through here, Tasteless, I think. Like, he has said he wants to win an ASL. He is motivated right now. He's practicing hard, so I am truly hoping to see him bring out his absolute A game tonight.
I'm curious what that A game is going to look like. He's very, very tough to take on. Really good Zergs, it's just so hard to get out of your base against. That's always been a rule in StarCraft, whether it's StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2. And of course, even if you do get out, you don't end up getting swallowed up by their army. You end up getting counterattacked. So having good defense early on is critical. Now we have the barracks coming down here, and this is a barracks before depot, and I was suspecting that Sock might try to do something like this because, in truth, I think your odds are almost always better to rush him with barracks and with bunker rush him essentially with Marines and barracks than you are to beat him in a long game. But of course, the problem with that when you're against somebody like Jaedong is Zergs are so used to people rushing them because they don't want to play long games that even though it might be a better bet to try to rush them, they're usually very good at holding it.
And as of right now, this is looking like it's just one barracks, and it's a barracks supply, right? So, and it's in his choke. This is something that definitely you can get damage done. We shouldn't be expecting Jaedong to die to this.
Right.
But it is something that gives... Yeah, like if you go... there's like a few different rushes, right? This one is like, it's kind of like pressure and you might parlay it into something, but like a BSB or a BBS. BBS
so barracks,
is the craziest.
Barracks supply, barracks supply.
You are truly dedicating like to an all-in if it's a barracks supply, but he's not done that here. And look at this, the drone already picking some damage. Ooh!
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but he definitely soaked enough damage while still slowing those Marines down. Now, let's also keep in mind, guys, that the Zerg went for hatchery first with a pull later on, so this rush can work against the Zerg. I mean, you basically, well, he's beat me to it. You basically have to pull drones here against something like this. So he wants to send the drones out, and you want to try to block out the SCVs.
Now his second SCV coming down. He wants to poke this, but he's got to be careful. Oh, he picked off that hurt drone right away.
He gets one Marine. One Marine. That bunker is not being made. Now, in case you're wondering, is this cost inefficient for the Zerg? Well, it's not great. You're not mining with these drones, but you have to do this or you risk losing that hatchery.
Yeah, he really needs to get his spawning pool up, get some Zerglings out here. Wow, another surround there. Jaedong's micro just impeccable, pulling off the hurt drone as well. And he has now stalled this out long enough, man, to kill off a few Marines and to keep him back. Looks good for Jaedong.
Yeah, he's in very good shape. The command center, by the way, has not started yet. A few lings are coming out. By the way, controlling those drones against those Marines is one of the harder unit micro things to do in StarCraft 1. It is certainly it's not easy for the Terran either to avoid it, but to get the drones to get proper surrounds, the drones especially the way their accelerator moves, it's pretty tough to get a clean block.
It is, especially with the two SCVs in there trying to body block those drones a little bit as well. But, you know, that is Jaedong for you. He is the strongest at micro as well. Even kills off that SCV. Really nicely done. Trying to get his lings up here, but...
I believe that Wallen's completely airtight.
Yeah.
I think nothing can get through that.
Maybe, yeah.
No, I think literally not even a ling at the bottom right side of the barracks can get through there.
Well, definitely not at the bottom right side, yeah. But okay, so he's all walled up and has taken that command center. So I guess he can just kind of normalize a little bit. You know, the Marines pop out on the outside, so there is this kind of little almost scary moment where if he ever does lift up that barracks to go in, that's like the only moment where Jaedong could actually hurt him. But he's basically completely safe.
Yeah, he's got a good setup. The Overlord over here in the center right is just out of range of where the third command center, if it is made, would be made. So he's watching for that most certainly. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe that's not a tight Wallen. Maybe those two depots actually do have an opening there.
Not between the two depots. If there was one, it should be between the barracks and the depot, but that looks tight to me in my little Terran brain.
Knowing Wallens in StarCraft 1 is pretty tricky, guys.
Yeah.
Like, basically any starting location, there's very few concrete rules you can follow. You have to kind of test them out. But Sock has managed to get his expansion up. I wouldn't say he's in great shape, and I wouldn't say he's in bad shape. I think Jaedong's basically held everything that he has to do, and now Jaedong gets to play the game he wants to play here.
And Jaedong with the 3 hatches going up to layer. Sock getting actually a pretty quick comsat station here. A little bit quicker than you might imagine. And where that scan was, he might have seen the Spire there, so that's pretty good. But I can't foresee him really getting damage done right now with this little group of bio. He's just forcing Sunkens at the moment.
That's right. What Terran tries to do now is force these drones to become sunken colonies, or at the bare minimum creep colonies, like you were saying. And that's a way for them to they lose drones, and they lose minerals because the threat of stim, even with just one medic and a few Marines, you can stim and actually get in and do a lot of damage if your control's good.
Yeah, by the way, those 2 Lings attacking that barracks was hilarious because it forces all the bio to come back.
Yeah.
If the 2 Lings are standing there and you let a Marine pop out, the Marine dies. That's it. 2 Lings destroy a Marine. So just cute little things happening here by Jaedong. Now, this is really quick tech and a very quick armory coming out of SOC. And, I mean, with that armory, I would imagine he's going to go into the Valkyrie. Like,
I think you're right. This is something I've seen Flash do a few times on stream. This was, like, not really a thing back when
Valkyries were considered, they were considered piss poor back in the day. Right. They were like a unit that you just didn't make as Terran. There was a sprite bug with them as well, where like sometimes they wouldn't all fire if too much stuff is on the screen. Really weird stuff. I mean, they obviously do a lot of damage, you know, to clumped up air units like Mutalisks. But, like, especially Valkyries this early, just Valkyries in general, you'd almost never see. That would be a very special game.
But I think it's become a little bit more popular with some of the Terrans that I've seen playing. And the idea behind it is similar to the reason why you end up getting Corsairs against the Zerg, is that these units do splash. You have to have a certain number of them before they're a real threat. I think Corsairs are a bit more nimble, a bit more easy to control. But the Zerg has to keep responding to this. And there it is. And he wants to bank them. He's hiding them over here, and when he gets maybe 3 or 4, he starts to push out, and you can kill off all their overlords. If you win the Muta fight, you can start to kill off everything that Zerg has. It's really problematic.
Well, Valk's, like, when he has a few of them, he will destroy the Mutas. Scourge are quite good against them, though, and look at this. Jaedong going to get on top of this Valkyrie. He needs to repair that immediately here.
Whoa! Really good job there.
Valkyries are expensive, so that hurt a little bit. But this is really cool to see SOC doing this, because sometimes you'll see people rush up into science vessels, right? And this is actually, oh my God, he barely doesn't get that.
That's pretty big, because these Mutas, it takes a while to heal, where the ICB can repair that immediately. And that Valkyrie is too well positioned. It would be unwise for Jaedong to try to come in and attack that.
Totally does not want to. But yeah, back to this just real quick. Like, the one thing that I like about these Valkyries a lot is if you go science vessels and lots of science vessels to counter Mutalisks, which you can do, and they're a good counter.
Right.
When you transition, like if you want to transition to mech later on, the science vessels are going to end up all dying because you don't want to have too many Goliaths. You can't snipe Scourge as much.
That's very true.
When you get a lot of Valkyries, they actually can kill Scourge. They counter Mutas very well as well. It's kind of like less micro-intensive and stuff, so... there's some definitely good points to this, but when you're losing 2 Valkyries already, that's pretty painful.
Now, it should be noted that Jaedong is doing what he needs to do by keeping the Valkyrie number at around 1 or 2. If it gets up to 3 or 4, it becomes much more problematic. But Terran still has the opportunity to push here. Is he going to get a tank with siege mode, Artosis? I think that might be what he's going for, because if you have enough Valkyries over that army with a tank there, you can just push through.
Yeah. Like... The thing is, he's lost 2 of them. If he hadn't lost those, Jaedong would be in trouble, but Jaedong's showing off just how good he is with Mutalisks right now. He's just straight up taking a 3rd base, too. We've seen other Zergs playing this map. They're rushing to getting islands and stuff, but Jaedong is comfortable not only just playing a normal game here with Mutas, but playing it against someone who has rushed to Valkyries.
And I see him getting Vultures here. That's interesting. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought he might be getting a tank here. This is a much more modern style of Terran versus Zerg. And we have seen Vultures use a lot as a transitional tool when you stop making the Medic Marines to then get Vultures behind that to plant mines. Now, there's nothing defending this bottom left base, Artosis. There's no lurkers on the ramp. And does he have a Nidus up? I don't believe he has a Nidus.
Making a couple creep colonies, but that is going to be a little bit late. These Lings and Mutas coming in, though, and that will at least buy enough time for a Sunken to be up.
Yeah, I think he hemorrhaged a little bit too many of those Lings. You really want to try to keep them back as much as possible. So the Mutas kind of come in on these angles and try to shave off units here and there. And if Jaedong can manage to keep this base up, it's going to be huge. And his control has basically been perfect so far.
Yeah, it's been pretty damn phenomenal. And look at this, already getting into his Defiler Mound. He'll have that 3rd gas up relatively soon, bringing some Lings in to make sure he can finish off this army.
So the Lings with the Mutas, it's just too much damage output. So he takes out this army, which knocks out any map presence that SOC had here. Although I have to say that was pretty close. Had he not managed to get that up, it would have been super problematic. SOC is again pushing out. We're still checking to see is there going to be a full-on mech switch, and it looks like we're beginning that with the 2 factories here.
And again, this works a lot better when you went for Valkyries as your anti-muta opening. Look at that, he's got 4 now. That's pretty fearsome. As long as Scourge don't connect with these right off the bat, Jaedong's going to have a hard time actually engaging this army.
The Nidus Canal is now going to have a train system set up between the two bases so that they can basically be defended. As long as Zerg has any defilers, they're in good shape. Terran is starting to push out here while this mech transition is happening. Zerg was at 1-1. I'm not clear on where Terran is. He might be +1 attack and armor on the way.
Yeah, and that will basically be as far as you go anyways when you're going for mech. He might have even skipped the +1 armor because he's made so little bio at this point. But the mines are getting laid around. The muta's still flying about.
These mines are actually going to be helpful in seeing where the mutas and Scourge are, by the way.
Certainly they are. Good amount of Scourge in there. He realizes really that what he needs to do here is eliminate Valkyries if these mutas are going to have any value. Science Vessel coming up on the way. That mech switch continues here for Sock.
So because the mutas are the only thing that Zerg really have that can combat all this, the Vultures become very handy because the Vultures are much faster than the Mutalisks. So this forces the mutas to come back here and stop harassing. And the reason why Terran is switching into mech at this phase of the game is a lot of Terrans deem it just too difficult with bio alone to actually push into the bottom left location. The travel distance is so far. The Nidus network connecting the two bases is, of course, it's very punishing for the Terran. And sometimes the Terran end up overextending, feeding into that. Really good defense line for Zerg, and in the end, the Zerg is ahead. Yeah,
Defilers just counter bio so well, whereas mech can deal with it to a certain extent. And utilizing Science Vessels all game long, you lose them one time, and the game ends. So definitely makes sense that Sock is going to this style, especially Sock, right? Because he's not known for being a god-tier mechanical player.
Now, I got to say, this was handled very well here by Jaedong, considering how many Vultures were taken out. But at the same time, the Vultures are more of a transitional tool. He will eventually have a big mech army. Now, hold up. Now, this many Valkyries. Hold up, though. And good connects there. He did lose a few Scourge there, but keeping that Valkyrie count low is very important. If the Terran hard counters your air, you then lose all your Overlords.
It was, it was a very good spread on those Scourge, too. And just reducing those at all at this point is, like, really so nice because he's put a ton of money into that. And that is his anti-air. Like, you do not want to make Goliaths against Zerg in the late game. Early game, they can be powerful in certain ways, but late game, it's really all about lots of mines, Vultures running around, and then the power of the siege tank.
Okay, so the Ultimus Cavern is coming up here. This is a good counter to the meching army here for Terran. Some Dark Swarms going down here for defensive purposes, and the rest of these these Vultures are going to be taken out with these Zerglings.
2-1 upgrades already on those, so the Ultra is going to come out very well upgraded. Little bit of bio remains, but I think that's just about the end of it.
We're still waiting for tanks.
Wow.
Yeah, we're still waiting for tanks to come into play here. Terran's sneaking a base up here, which is much easier to do now because the map is littered with spider mines.
Yeah. By the way, this is like kind of a cool counter composition that Sock has gone for here. It's mostly just Vultures and Valkyries. And the Vultures can counter the Lings reasonably well, and the Valkyries counter the Mutas reasonably well. So he's actually expanding towards the top left at the moment and trying to utilize these units to hurt Jaedong before he gets something big out like those Ultras.
Jaedong might end up getting pinned down here. This could be, okay, very good plague there. That was definitely one of the few responses he had in this situation. But yeah, you're completely right, Artosis. He's really just hard countering what the Zerg has. The Zerg never went for lurkers in this game.
Yeah.
Right? He just stayed on Ling Muta while taking up into a hive. So Vultures and Valkyries is really all you need. And a few Medic Marine in there, that's just going to complement that even further.
Yeah, well, those are kind of the leftover from his barracks, right? We probably won't see any more of that throughout the game. But yeah, the barracks are already floating around. So I really like this style of strategy he's gone for. But the Ultras are going to really force those siege tanks out. Once it gets to clear the mines, which is really the important thing, because otherwise the mines will massacre your Ultras. You need mass siege tanks at that point. And we see he is already switching into it, realizing Jaedong should be there.
Okay, Jaedong slowly clearing out the minefield over here while these Scourge move around the map to try to see if they can't intercept the Valkyries. Now, a good island base being taken over here. That's going to be a base I don't know if Terran is going to be able to get to for a while. And the more Zerg bases with gas at them, the better it is overall for them.
Yeah, if he can just hold on. you don't really fly around with drop ships with the mech army anyways, so those feel like very safe bases for Jaedong right now. Really like his choice to take that right now after he's already secured that bottom left. Also, utilizing his plague, it was only a +1 on those Marines. Sock really has come very prepared into this game against Jaedong. Like, strategically, I really love how he's playing. Like, Jaedong is doing well because he's Jaedong and he's so good. But Sock has come here with a strategy that could beat Jaedong.
I agree. I think Sock is not in bad shape this game. They've both been on like low base numbers for a little bit here. The Zerg stayed on the third for a while. The Terran stayed in just this upper right quadrant. But now they both managed to sneak out bases, one on the upper left, one on the island. But Terran is going to begin to push. Now, obviously, Dark Swarm can counter a lot of what Mech has, but if you have enough siege tanks, the splash damage just doesn't matter.
Now, another big thing we have to think about is where are those Valkyries? Because Jaedong already has drops. He should get Overlord speed pretty soon. Ooh, that was a nice snipe on the Defiler. But if you can drop some Lings and Ultras on top of the siege tanks, they are going to die really quickly.
Terran is going to be very vigilant to try to find where the Defilers are. If he can rush forward with the Vultures and pick off the Defilers, the Vultures are going to kill that Defiler so fast that only a defensive Dark Swarm on the Defiler would keep it alive. Now, this may be an overextension here.
Quite a few Lings coming up. The Defiler a little bit late right there.
Oh, I don't know. I think Jaedong might actually just lose this game now. He lost way too many Lings.
It is possible, but he should have some higher tech popping out here in a moment. Okay, he has Overlord speed as well, so we can start to see some serious drops on top of these tanks possibly.
Okay, the Terran is now moving out here. Nice plays on this. But here come the Valkyries, and there's really no anti-air right now.
Yeah, these Valkyries are just brutal. The Ultralisk getting out and getting on top of some of these units, but so many Overlords are going to end up falling here.
And now he can just continue to do so much damage. Now, the Ultras are starting to clear through here, but the problem is if you lose all your Overlords and end up being supply blocked, which in this case we know Jaedong is, it's going to be too difficult to remake units. This can end up snowballing into a checkmate where you're unable to produce as the Zerg.
Yeah, this is really, really tough. Luckily, it looks like he can clean out most of the siege tank army, but Sock has a huge economy right now. He's sitting here on 4 gases, 5 bases overall. And Jaedong he's in trouble after losing all those Ultras. He just doesn't have the anti-air for the Valks.
Yeah, the remainder of tanks is just enough to keep the Terran holding this position here. Now, Jaedong has made enough Overlords. I'm assuming that's over at the bottom left. But again, he has spent so many of his minerals remaking Overlords. I don't know if he's going to have enough muscle here with his ground army to actually combat the real threat, which is this push that's slowly destroying everything at his second base as well as his third.
Everything is really going wrong for him right now. And
I think he might lose his Artosis. I think we're moments away from seeing him tap out here.
You could be right. Like, he has enough bases that I think he stays in the game as long as possible. But, yeah, like, I'm definitely feeling Sock for the victory here without a doubt.
Let's also keep in mind that Terran has the upper left and is getting another command center over there. I think there's nothing else Jaedong can do.
The Valkyries have just done such a fantastic job. Hopefully he has Scourge about to pop out of those eggs so close to the Valks, because just about anything else, man. He's got to clear those if he's gonna win this game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, more Vultures come down here, and with Terran at the supply that he's at, which is at 174 to 60, well, about 70 supply now. You just start throwing mech units everywhere, and Zerg can't keep up. And a drop over here at the island, that's going to be it. GG in an upset. Jaedong loses to Sock. Sock now moving on to the winner's match.
Yeah, that was really well done by Sock. You know, people gave him a lot of crap. He was one of these early picked players, but he really came prepared today for Andromeda. I really like the Valkyrie Vulture, the double V style, as I like to say. V for Vendetta. But no, it was a good, very mobile strategy, and the Valkyries really were the backbone of him winning this game. Like, without any doubt, this was the important thing that he did. Even though he lost a few early Valkyries, he kept them around, he kept the count high enough to really punish Jaedong at every turn.
Nicely done there by Sock. He is going to go on to the winner's match, but we still have the other side of our group to take care of over here. That is going to be Last versus Hero, another TVZ. Again, Last the favorite there, but so far with favorites and who's supposed to move on, that has not really mattered, Tosis.
Well, if Hero beats Last, man, it's going to be a hard road for Jaedong to get out of this group.
We are going to a short break. And when we come back, it's going to be last versus hero. Stay tuned.
Please just take your time, eat with your hands, fine. I'm on the menu. Whoa.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
이게 도대체 뭐야? 대박! 소름!
사전 등록하면은 소미 캐릭터 준대요.
아버지와 더 가까워질 당신, 질레트가 응원합니다.
논해보려고 해요. 남들 지적하고 이런 거 못하거든요. 남들한테 관심이 없어요. 목욕탕 갈 때 입는 옷을 평소에도 이렇게 입고 다니시는 건가요? 가오가 정신을 지배한 듯. 비율과 얼굴이 중요하다고 생각합니다. 얼굴이 크면은 이렇게 되거든. 이거 탄피인가요? 탄피인가요 이거? 근데 자켓은 이쁘네요. 이게 남자분들 여리여리. 여러분들 오늘 즐거웠습니다.
월드 오브 워십. 야, 쟤 잠수함이냐? 쾌속선. 가와이네. 이렇게 못 맞추네, 씨. 고티어 베타는 민폐입니다. 누구시죠? 저희 죄송한데 혹시 운영자님이십니까? 나의 꿈과 희망을 실어서 간다! 올해 김연봉. 고쳐, 불라. 야, 뭐야, 블랙홀이냐? 은신.
뭐야 이게? 설마 탄?
전국민 슈팅 그라운드 탄! 지금 사전 예약하세요.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
얘들아, 힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
Welcome back to the ASL. Excuse me. Welcome back to the ASL. That was better that time.
Yeah.
We just saw Jaedong lose, which was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
He can still get out of the group, but Sok definitely beat him with, I think, a better unit composition and handled that map really well.
Yeah, like, I really love the way that Sok played, just the nonstop Valkyries. He even, like, Jaedong got one of the quicker thirds that you're going to see in this matchup nowadays as far as gas goes, right? And still, Sok he kept making those Valkyries. He had mines absolutely everywhere. Did a very good job, like, kind of containing Jaedong, keeping him back, and went right into those siege tanks for like a perfect victory, basically.
Yeah. When you have that many Valkyries and you win the fight against the Mutalisks, then all your Overlords die.
Yeah, and that's really rough because against this type of mech play, you actually see a lot of dropping on top of the Siege Shanks. Because
That's right.
If you try to run towards a big line of Siege Shanks with upgrades, everything dies. It doesn't matter what race it is or what units they are, they die because Siege Shanks are the most powerful thing that there is.
And since they have such incredible range, they do their damage before you ever do yours.
So you need to drop on top of it, which means if you keep those Valkyries alive, you're in very good shape.
Yeah, I think you're completely right, Artosis. We have another Terran vs. Zerg coming up. Last, many are saying this is currently the best Terran in the world, despite how strong Flash is. He's much younger, but mechanically he is just godlike, and I think it's going to be a tough match for Hero.
I definitely agree with you on that. Hero is quite a strong Zerg, one of the best that there is, but his ZVT has never truly stood out as something to be awed over as far as top-end ZVTs go. So I think that going up, basically every Zerg, including Jaedong, against Flash and Last, I predict to lose, because Flash and Last make the matchup look imbalanced in a way
really
that no
do.
other Terran can.
It's insane how deep their understanding of this is. Some of the very best Terrans like Last and Flash are so good at denying the third base, the third gas from ever being taken for the Zerg. Oh, good song pick.
Yeah.
Each player gets to pick their own music to play before the match, kind of like it's a boxing match or something like that. UFC match.
This was a very famous song for an intro. This is the one where they all jump in the pool.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Hero is going to do this time. We did see that Sok decided to try to come in and pressure Jaedong, although the pressure was very unsuccessful. It was actually Sok's ingenuity with the Valkyrie Vulture combination to really curb the progress of Zerg and ultimately win with a big tank push. Will we see that switch into mech here from Terran?
It's hard to say.
Jaedong went SK Terran, and then we had these other guys like Sako for Vulture Valkyrie later on. So I guess there's more than one way to skin a cat here.
No, you're certainly right about that. I wouldn't be surprised because Last's mechanics are so good if he stays on an SK Terran style, but you never know.
We are now going into our second best of one, Last versus Hero, a TVZ. The winner goes on to face off against Sok in a fight to get to the round of 8 in the ASL. In the bottom right, in the white, Last. And in the bottom left, in the teal, our Zerg player Hero.
You know how for each beginning match, one guy's in a white jacket, one guy's in a black jacket?
Yeah.
I wonder if whoever decided this gets really excited when one white jacket guy wins and one black jacket guy wins.
Well, you know why? I think it's because of their races. I think we have...
No, it's the first match of the day. They just split the
I didn't know that.
colors.
I just assumed. I never asked.
We only have 2 colors.
Artosis, we have, it looks like a cross scout, unless he's going to make a barracks up here.
Well, that's so
Actually,
early.
that's
I
so
would
early
expect
that
that that's what we're going to be seeing. But
okay, this is cute. So this location, let's pretend that Zerg's in the upper left. It's a really good rush location, but
this is it's it's closer to the top left, but it's still reasonably close to the other 2 bases. So it's not exactly the same type of percentage play we saw the other day.
That's right, and that's important to point out.
Yeah, it's not like 33% of the time it'll be bad. It's like 33% of the time it's closer and really good, and the other times it's fine. It's like, okay, it's a proxy Rax. We'll see what gets done. But look at this Overlord Scout. I think he's just going to miss it, maybe.
This should be mapped out so that it would miss the Overlord, but I guess it depends.
It matters on where that Overlord wants to be sent.
Yeah, I mean, usually the Overlord goes more directly to the top.
Yeah.
I think it might just barely miss it, though. We'll see. If it grazes by this and sees it, it's so bad for the Terran.
Yeah. This could matter on like where he sends the SCV also. Let's see. Okay, so if this comes from a funny angle, that's a funny angle.
Yep.
The Overlord could look
there.
at that and be like, wait a minute, you're a little bit too low to be going horizontally here. And look, the Overlord is actually veering a little bit to the right.
Okay, he should see him now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sees him now for sure. And he needs to get the Overlord out of there right away. The second barracks on the low ground means this is a very heavily committed rush.
Oh, my God.
What?
Well, he forces the cancel there with that drone. And the Marine did not chase down that Overlord at all. It's, in fact, going immediately down, making a beeline to this expansion. More SCVs being pulled as well.
I did not expect Last to have a play like this. Coming in here, though, but Hero, just like Jaedong, knows the play that he has to have. He has to have the drones come out here and start fighting these workers before a bunker could even be set up. And Hero's doing a really good job, Artosis.
Yeah, well, look at this. This is actually, Last is doing a very good job as well. Hero overpulled drones. He's actually very frightful of this rush. And if Last just runs really far from the drones, then Hero is losing out a bit. That is a lot of drones not mining.
Also, the unexpected SCV pull here with a bunker being made behind us.
Go back on the drones! Oh, my God.
He's going to try to come up here and intercept more Marines that are coming down.
Yeah, this is a really good way to do it if you can get the strand there. Doesn't quite kill it.
Oh, my God.
Jeez, this is
Last
not going well.
may have outmaneuvered him here. And with these drones now blocked off from getting back home, this is hugely problematic. These Marines are going to get inside this bunker immediately.
Oh, this is so well done. He catches one of the Marines, but this is bad news right now for a Hero. The Ling's coming out, trying to surround, but there's so many SCVs to repair.
Remember, you cannot target with a bunker.
Sick load right there on the SCV to save its life. Still repairing it. More Marines being sent down here.
I think he's going to get all these Lings. This is going to be too much damage output. Now, the bunker will eventually burn down. But, I mean, at what cost is this really for the Zerg? He's on 4 drones right now.
Yeah, that's not enough drones, indeed. A couple of SCVs even being sent out. And the Marine count is growing.
That's
he
right.
has like 5 Marines down here, I want to say, and then like another one is coming down right now nonstop. So
the bunker is not going to be repaired in time. I think the SCV will be just a few seconds too late. However, the hatchery is going to be killed off, and there's still a good amount of Marines. Okay, here we go. Now keep in mind the SCVs can be used here along with these Marines to try to fight these Zerglings. These Zerglings do not have the speed upgrade.
Okay, this bunker is something he can mic around here as well. Looks like there might be a counterattack coming down right now. This is not like too bad of a choice, I think, actually.
Yeah, no, I think this is a really bright move here.
Yeah, with 4 drones only at home, it's not like he can, even if he clears this and loses all his Lings, it's like, well, he still has 4 drones, right?
But then again, I think the Terran can just run in here and try to jump on top of this base. There's no creep colony here. There's really not much of anything because Terran couldn't really even get, or sorry, Brother Zerg couldn't really get that much of anything. He has drones and Lings hatching here. Now, if the Zerg can take out this Terran Marine SCV army here, oh my God, this game has become completely insane. All right, hold up. He's coming in now.
God.
Good targeting, good targeting.
He's got to be very careful here. There's a bunker going up right now near his spawning pool. So this command center will just float over to that main base. This is going to be where Last makes his stand. And look at that. Chasing this down is the perfect play as well. It doesn't matter about the building. Kill off the Lings, kill off the drones, because this is going to come down to one final engagement.
He gets the one Marine inside of the bunker. Now the SCVs are turning around with this. Now the losing conditions are you take out all their buildings. He only has 2 left, and he's going to send this one Marine just into this bunker. Anything to buy time really is all he needs to do. The command center is moving now over here to the bottom left.
Okay, by the way, there's no minerals left and no drones left. So best Hero can get is a buy because of the floating command center.
That's right.
He's looking for a buy here, and it does not look likely.
Yeah, well, this is just way too much of everything here. He's trying, and we're going to see GG as Hero loses to Last Rush, which means we have a TVT in the winner's match.
Yeah, is Sock going to be able to somehow get out of this group in first place? That would be a crazy upset. Craziest
It really would
yet.
be. Man, and this means that it's going to be Jaedong versus Hero in the losers match.
That's a tough one. I feel a little bit bad here for Hero. He has to be looking at it and saying, wow, I thought I'd hit Sock and then maybe have a decider against Jaedong. Instead, it's coming to him right now. He might get last place. ZVZ for Jaedong, that is like his specialty.
There's a chance that Last gets first place, as weird as that is to say, Artosis. Well, congratulations there to Last. That was a pretty sneaky rush. Really well controlled. There's a lot of micro decisions that you have to make there, and I think Hero's move to try to come out and hit the SCVs was not a bad idea, but he did not have enough at home to deal with it.
Yeah, bringing that many drones and the fact that Last ran that far away, beautifully done by Last.
We'll be back with the winner's match after this short break.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
이게 도대체 뭐야? 대박! 소름!
사전 등록하면은 소미 캐릭터 준대요.
아버지와 더 가까워질 당신, 질레트가 응원합니다.
영상 왔다!
잘못 냈다가는 어떤 취급받으냐면 김종국 취급받습니다. 황간창법. 생각의 전환이 조금 필요합니다. 고음부터 빡 주세요. 뭐야? 진짜 본인 목소리예요? 아니 톤이 너무 신기해가지고 나는. 뭐야? 노렸어요?
월드 오브 탱크 블리처 맞춰주면 터지죠 나이스. 야, 내가 제일 잘하는 것 같은데 일반 여자들 중에 맞지? 소련이 좋다고? 이거 멋있더라 사막. 오, 자 운전 잘해줘야 되죠. 뒷부다 나와. 죄송합니다. 터집니다. 똥 탱크 새끼는 앞만 보고 있지. 당원의 장사. 탱크가 너무 약해. 튕겼습니다. 이 튕겨 나오네. 왜 이렇게 센데 이 탱크. 월드 오브 탱크 블리츠 많이 사랑해 주시고요.
뭐야 이게? 설마 탄? 전국민 슈팅 그라운드 탄! 지금 사전 예약하세요.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
얘들아, 힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
We're back at the ASL. It's time for the winners match. Terran versus Terran, as in a pretty big upset, Jaedong lost our first game and has been knocked into the losers match.
Yeah, that's a very tough pill to swallow right now for him, no doubt about it. But we'll talk more about that later. TVT coming up. It's going to be last going up against Sock. Definitely last the favorite here, a monster in Terran versus Terran.
Yeah, it's so difficult to take out a player like Last. Although then again, look, if Sock is able to beat somebody of the caliber of Jaedong, we cannot underestimate him.
Yeah,
we have to take the results that we're getting here and admit, all right, these guys are playing at the very best they can.
Sure.
Sock's already delivered. He's already going to be riding a high. If Sock gets out of this group first, what?
And you know what? He played a very strategic game against Jaedong. He came very prepared in that regard. And TVT is probably the most strategy-based matchup. Not that it has more strategy, but that strategy is more important because, like, for instance, your minerals can go a bit higher. Like, you don't have to macro 100% perfectly in TVT because the defender's advantage is so massive.
Yeah, it's a big chess game.
Yeah.
once you get a position, it's much easier to maintain it. If you have siege tanks and turrets there, for instance,
yeah,
it's
like
spider mine set up.
You can't get broken, basically. So is what I'm trying to say.
A lot of times there's a big no man's land set up in the middle of the map. The players are trying to drop around it, occasionally bust through. But it's usually the longest matchup in StarCraft Brood War.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
That PvT can go on for a while as well, but PvTs also can be radically short.
Yeah. Now, even though it can be very long, Last is really, really good at TVT, so Sock could try something a little bit cheeky here. This map doesn't have a ramp,
sure.
So and it's pretty wide open. We're on Camelot, by the way, in case people didn't realize that. And that can make vultures very, 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 very powerful. Just in general, they travel so quickly, they shoot so quickly that if you go mass vultures early on, you can break a lot of different stuff with that.
That's right. Yeah, any map without a ramp, vultures could just... It's like having too many lings or too many dragoons in the other respective mirror matchups,
yeah.
You know?
Very much
you can overrun them. But let's see how they open up. Both players are now in our lobby. This is Last versus Sock, a TDT, to move on to the round of 8 in the ASL. In the upper left, in the yellow, our Terran player Last. And in the bottom right in the red, defeating Jaedong, Sock.
Will be interesting to see what strats they want to open up with here. Of course, this matchup in general has probably the most reasonable openings. This map, though, will reduce the amount of different openings that you can really reliably do. Like, for instance, you will not see a double Stargate opening on this map because you just, without a ramp, you can be broken by various land-based rushes, right? So,
also the center of this map, it's not that big. It's still a large map, but the way this works out, it should be cut down the middle, or possibly cut in a diagonal for TVT. Maybe cut right. Well, we'll have to see, but there's not a lot of ways to move around on this map.
Yeah, the very middle is low ground. So if you just basically siege above ramps, you will not be broken by ground. And the map is small enough that you could very easily turret ring a lot of it off quite quickly. So this is one of those maps, kind of like Blue Storm, that if they both get up to a reasonably high supply and the game is slow at all, then we're going to jump up from that. That is something that could easily happen at, like, 12 minutes. We could look at this and be like, okay, this is going to 50 minutes. You know, that type of game where it's like, these two are not being broken. They've made enough missile turrets. They have enough siege tanks. It's battlecruiser time, you know? Not saying it'll happen, because there's definitely a lot of ways you could be aggressive on such a flat map or on the natural and main base, but we'll see.
One thing to keep in mind as well is that there are not a ton of bases in general on this map. It's not like these 4-player maps. So if you're ahead in one base for a while and you could just keep them off of another base, the other guy can't even go battlecruisers. You have to have basically even numbers of bases, because it costs so much minerals and so much gas to even do that.
Yeah.
It looks like now we're going to have Last go ahead and get a command center first. We're still waiting to see what the next play is going to be from Sock. It looks like he's going for a factory immediately, whereas Last has not taken his gas just yet.
Yeah, and he's taken 2 SCVs off the gas, and that is a huge tell on what Sock wants to do. It's just going to be a 1 factory into a command center. He'll grab a vulture pretty quickly with that, likely as well. So we're probably going to have to see a bunker out of Last, who has gone gasless into a quicker command center. But it's not really all that big a deal. Now, will Sock try to get aggressive, add more factories, have some sort of vulture contain? That's definitely a very doable thing for him with these openers.
It's very true. We see the barracks already lifted off here, by the way, for Sock. So since mech is really the only way you can play a TVT early on, any Marines you do see early on in a TVT is just there to stall until mech units can come out. The barracks gets to float out, kind of like a giant overlord with a lot of HP, and you can float that into their area and try to scout what exactly they're doing. It's a very good play. You do want to be careful not to lose the barracks, especially right around when it gets to their base, because if you lose the barracks, you can't make factories. You have to have a barracks to make factories. So sometimes you'll have games where the barracks is lost and people don't realize it's a bigger deal than it would normally be in other parts of a TVT, and then they get behind in factories, and then the other guy has more mech, and he wins.
There's actually a really funny mini game that happens quite often in TVT. Normally, you'll make 2 Marines. You can sometimes just make 1, but that's like basically it. And occasionally, you'll see someone running with a Vulture and just try to snipe the Marines really fast, because if you kill the Marines and you didn't make a Wraith, there's no anti-air for like a million years, and you can scout everything with your barracks.
That's right.
So it can be a kind of funny little thing. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That barracks going to get in pretty quickly. The barracks, of course, for last has to be used defensively, so Vultures can't just run by, or he would lose all of his SCVs.
Yeah, good point. Good thing to point out there, Tosis. We have a starport. Notice where this is located. It's in the very upper left. So the odds of the barracks getting all the way over there and seeing that is pretty low. But the starport definitely a bit more of a deceptive play, whereas Sock is going for a little bit more muscle here on the ground.
Yeah, well, he's taken such a quick expansion, right, that he has this second gas up very quickly. Yeah, he has a lot of minerals, but something like a Wraith and then siege tanks will hold him on against everything, because this is really, when you look at it, as a Terran player, you want to go Vulture tank here. It makes a lot of sense to go for something like that. So if he has a Wraith, it kind of screws up all the math for Sock, and the game just goes longer, which is what last should be looking for.
Now, in this game, we saw that the barracks turned around. I don't believe it saw that starport there. So that's now moving over here to the right. Since, again, he doesn't want to let that barracks take too much damage here. So he's now going to probably try to float this over to the top center location to try to spot for any expansions being taken there. The first Wraith, when that comes out, will probably start to try to hit this barracks and knock it out of the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he just hunts that down. Even putting the clock on your opponent, be like, okay, get your academy now, start your factories now.
Right.
You know, that type of thing can be quite annoying. But the game is really kind of shaping up as you would imagine. Sock getting the massive contain with the spider mines. This is not as dangerous as it is against Protoss in a lot of ways.
Right.
Like, mech units don't get hit by spider mines very much. They're kind of really quick at shooting when they pop out of the ground.
Yeah,
so.
There's no animation that has to connect on top of the spider mine. For instance, the Dragoon has to fire that little blue plasma thing to have it actually hit the mine. So the mine ends up hitting it beforehand. But like with tanks and Goliaths and Marines, when they are there, their shot, the moment it fires, it instantly connects with its target. So the spider mine, unless you have like 5 or 6 all clustered together, usually the mines are taken out. But you got to be careful.
Yeah, this is like, he probably won't get any hits by these mines, and if he does, he'll repair. Also, another kind of funny thing, if your Marines all lived, you actually just send them into the spider mines at this point. This is a super common thing because your Marines literally do nothing now. The barracks is gone. Okay, the Marines are worthless. Throw them away.
So a few more scans come down here. He wants to take out these preliminary mines. You might be asking, is it even worth it to get mines against the other Terran player? Yeah, absolutely it is. In an APM demanding game like Brood War, making them deal with anything is worth it. And of course, one misclick or one misplay, and a mine takes out a unit.
Yeah, it's great scouting as well. Like, he has a very good idea of where his opponent is and where his army is and all that good stuff. So the mines have been useful so far. And the Vultures are useful up to a certain supply anyways, just comboed with the siege tanks. Once you start getting really large supplies, Vultures do nothing against Tank Goliath. They become very wasteful, and you're basically just throwing them around to scout, to hit SCVs, that type of thing, pick off stray units. But in a big battle, they won't do too much.
So the SCV is obviously under threat here. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Connected on top of that tank, which is a pretty big deal in tank versus tank games. So the Wraith is used as a nuisance here to try to stop players from scouting. Meanwhile, this dropship is headed southbound over here into the main. I believe this is full of Vultures. Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is a very nice move coming out of last. He's going to be able to pick off quite a few SCVs, it looks like. One that was building something, then a few more in this line before having to pick up.
And he needs to get out and not try to pursue this any further, because the Goliaths can definitely shoot down the dropship if you're not careful. Sock looks like he's ready to take the bottom center location, although he hasn't started making that command center just yet. We're still waiting to see when Last is going to expand again himself.
the Goliath range on the way right now as well for Sock. Definitely a very strong army is fielded right now. Now, as far as Last goes, we don't see him making a third command center. He's just kind of poised on top of this high ground. He's flying around. He's making a second dropship as well, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, he may be going for a really strong two-base play and waiting for Sock to try to get a third base and then just pouncing on him.
Yeah, and there's actually, about this map in particular, like the main base actually has a wall around it as opposed to the main base being on a plateau. And that makes a big difference in TVT because if you don't see the dropships coming in, it's a more powerful map to drop on.
Right.
Like a map like this or Bluestorm, you just don't see anything coming till it's there unless you're floating buildings over it.
Your base is basically a bucket.
Yes.
You're just sitting inside the bucket. Yeah, you're completely right, Artosis. That means the drops can suddenly blindside you.
Right now, Last is moving down the map pretty quickly here, and don't forget he has the multiple dropships. So if he can force a lot of these units from Sock to come out and kind of meet him here and siege up, that's a situation where he might be able to do something like send 2 dropships in the main base, siege that up.
Okay, hold up. There's 3 dropships out here, but Sock is actually moving around his opponent. And I think Sock might be out of position, but at the same time, a huge drop into the main here. He could get that right on top of all the production facilities. This is actually turning into like a very weird base trade scenario.
Yeah, this definitely could end up going either way. Sock gets it started a little bit quicker, but he doesn't actually on top of the factories. Sieging up where the SCVs are, that could be a big mistake. Whereas Last gets in here, drops on top of these siege tanks, and look at this move by Last. You can see the difference in these Terrans. Last going immediately to the factories.
Yeah, he knows if he gets on top of the factories, everything that pops out dies. Now, there's no anti-air here. There's no anti-air, and there's 1 Wraith.
That Wraith definitely can make a gigantic difference right now. Putting a counter here on these siege tanks. Sock finally on top of everything in his opponent's base, but it looks like both the armies are eventually going to be cleared.
As time passes here, more and more tanks are taking damage. I'm a little bit worried here for Last's sake because it looks like this is going to get cleaned up first, whereas these units are still doing damage. You can actually take out so many of these SCVs.
Dude, this is crazy. I can't even believe what I'm seeing right now.
I think Sock's going to get out of this group first.
It is wild. It does look that way indeed. Last is in so much trouble. Maybe he can do something like kill this command center. That would be a big boon to him. But with 2 Wraiths out, that's it.
GG. Sock gets out first.
God.
Whoa, this is like the biggest upset out of all the groups that we've had in the round of 16. Sock advances, which means we're left with Hero, Last, and Jaedong.
Okay, so just to put this in perspective, the group winners so far, Flash, okay, we started out the round of 16 as expected. Then Sulky, okay, well, I mean, he's really good. Then Mong, M-O-N-G, Mong. And then Sock. Like, what the hell is going on?
Is the time up for the old gods, Artosis? First of all, Hero has to play off against Jaedong. I think Jaedong should win that, but everything we've come to understand about StarCraft 1 in its current state with our players has been turned upside down tonight, so maybe Jaedong does lose that. I don't know, but then Last again?
Oh, that's a very tough one indeed. Okay. Interview time with Sock. Congratulations. Thank you.
소감이 어떠신가요?
Well, here's another group of death. You made it out. How do you feel about that?
1등으로 올라갈 거라는 걸. 근데
he says, well, I think nobody expected me to make it out first place.
했겠지만 올라가서 좋네요. 네. 2승으로 올라가.
네, 오늘
says, I know we have a lot of fans in the studio.
가장 까다로웠던 선수가 있다면 누가 있을까요?
And I know they're not my fans, but I'm still really glad to make it out.
까다로웠던 것 같아요. 거의 오늘 분위기가 거의 한일전 느낌 나가지고.
What match was harder?
네, 원래 긴장 안 하고 왔는데 좀 보니까 긴장되더라고요. 그래가지고 좀 까다로웠어요, 이 경기가.
It almost feels like Korea versus Japan.
서현지 소학이 임성춘이면은 최우선 아닐까 싶을 정도로 요상한 생각이 드는 아무도 이해를 못하고 계시죠?
네네.
예, 역행과 추계기 합치면 최우선이 아닐까?
네, 역행 마스터잖아요 또.
예, 막 듣는데 오늘 솔직히 그
Well, you're known for girl cams and alcohol. Knew this was coming up, Tasteless.
Yeah, I know. This
they
guy
love to tease him
likes
over
to
this.
drink on stream.
근데 저는 할만하다고 생각했는데 끝나고 나와가지고 성현이한테 물어보니까 제가 불리했다고 하더라고요.
You went for an 8-rax. Against Jaedong, but he blocked it. What was going through your mind there? He said, I thought I was actually ahead, but I heard that I was behind.
자신 있었어가지고
예.
네 할만하다는 생각이었어요.
예, 이상한 생각을 갖고
Said,
있는.
actually, I had confidence
최우선
that if it went late game, it would become doable for
것
me.
같아요. 상대가 많이 먹고 시작을 하는데.
아, 네 처음에 원래 배럭 더블을 생각을 못했는데 일단 성현이 생각이 배럭 더블 해가지고 후반 가면 안 진다는 마인드가 있었나봐요.
예, 그런데 이걸 이겼어요.
아 근데 원래 저도 긴장했는데 원래 레이스가 있을 때 안 좋거든요.
그쵸.
성현이었으면은 근데 그 레이스 죽은 거 보고 좀 성현이도 긴장하고 있구나 생각하고 있어가지고 좀 자신 있게 한 게 이게 승리 요인 된 것 같아요.
When I killed his Wraith, I could feel that he was actually quite nervous in that game. It was the moment when 2 Goliaths killed the Wraith.
때쯤에서 그 레이스가
And at that moment, he decided, wow, I really have a chance to win this.
역시 최우선입니다. 예, 모든 걸 다 꿰뚫고 있었던 최우선이기 때문에 이렇게 당당하게 또 다음 8강까지 올라갈 수 있었던 것이 아닌가 싶네요.
또 많은 분들이 궁금해하셨던 게 혹시 드시고 온 게 아닌가.
Seems like your reads of the games were good throughout the
그런
matches.
의문증을 많이 지금 제기가 됐거든요. 어떠신가? 드시고 오셨나요, 설마?
A lot of people were thinking you drank before the matches tonight. Did you?
한 5일째 안 먹은
Says
것
no.
같아요.
I actually didn't.
네, 오늘
I stopped drinking for the past 5
Damn,
days.
he's detoxing, boys.
Oh boy.
이제 역힘도 봐야죠.
So you gonna have a party tonight? Yeah.
역시 역시 맞죠.
Tonight's the night.
네, 이제 끝으로
Have
팬분들께
a
인사
drink
말씀
and
또
watch
8강에
some
대한
girl
각오 한
cams.
말씀 해주시죠.
네, 뭐
This
제가
guy.
올라가게 돼가지고
Any words
좀
for your fans?
흥행에 문제 있을 것 같긴 한데 그래도 그 이미 올라갔으니까 뭐 경기력으로 보답하는 것밖에 없는 것 같아요.
Yeah, since I advanced the round of 8.
더 많이 연습해가지고 더
Looks like
멋진
I'm a league
경기력
breaker.
보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
네, 축하드립니다.
But I'm
최우선
top 8
선수.
now. So I'm gonna
지금까지
practice even
승자
harder to
최우선
show
선수
better
만나봤습니다.
performances.
이어서 이재동, 조일장 두 선수의 패자전
Party guy
대결이
moves on.
이어집니다.
Jaedong versus Hero is coming up after this break, and we'll find out who's going to be the first player eliminated in Group D in tonight's ASL.
잠시 휴식 후 돌아오겠습니다.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
이게 도대체 뭐야?
대박.
소름.
사전 등록하면은 소미 캐릭터 준대요.
아버지와 더 가까워질 당신, 질레트가 응원합니다.
논해 보려고 해요. 남들 지적하고 이런 거 못하거든요. 남들한테 관심이 없어요. 목욕탕 갈 때 입는 옷을 평소에도 이렇게 입고 다니시는 건가요? 가오가 정신을 지배한 듯. 비율과 얼굴이 중요하다고 생각합니다. 얼굴이 크면은 이렇게 되거든. 이거 탄피인가요? 탄피인가요 이거? 근데 자켓은 이쁘네요. 이게 남자분들 여리여리. 여러분들 오늘 즐거웠습니다.
월드 오브 워시. 야, 쟤 잠수함이냐? 쾌속선. 커와이네. 그렇게 못 맞추네. 씨. 고티어 베타멀 민폐입니다. 누구시죠? 저 죄송한데 혹시 운영자님이십니까? 나의 꿈과 희망을 실어서 간다. 올해 김연보. 고쳐 블라. 야, 뭐야, 블랙홀이냐? 은신.
뭐야 이게? 설마 탄?
전국민 슈팅 그라운드 판. 지금 사전 예약하세요.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
얘들아, 힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
We're back at the ASL, and it's time for the losers match. Surprisingly, neither Jaedong or Last have managed to advance. Last is waiting in the final match. He'll be facing off against whoever wins, between Jaedong and Hero. But this is a day where either Jaedong or Last, or possibly both of them, do not advance.
Yeah, and that's kind of wild. It really messes with what we all expected the top 8 to look like. But
I don't understand the world anymore.
The top 8 has been diddled thoroughly, tasteless. It is so different from what anyone was really expecting. By the way, at the end of the broadcast today, we will be drawing the top 8. So that's going to be pretty darn fun to see where all these guys match up. Because, like, actually, if you got second in your group, you're actually lucky now. The only guy that's considered a winner of the tournament that got first place in their group is Flash. Whereas we have, it's Bisu got second place.
Right.
Who got second place on Sunday? It was, right, because Mong got on first, so Best got on second.
Best, yep.
So Best, Bisu, and then one of these three badasses, probably a Jaedong or a Last, gonna get in second place. So, like, those are the sickos. Like, those are the monsters there in second place, whereas you got Sak, Mong, and Sulky. Sulky's a great player, though. And not that the other two Terrans are not. They're just, these are not the guys you would even expect in the round of 8, let alone being a first-place seed.
But we have to acknowledge that the landscape of who is the best in Brood War is constantly changing. And even though names that we're really familiar with...
I will acknowledge no such thing!
Even though we look at someone, especially like Jaedong, and say, well, he will always be in the top 8 of any major tournament, Brood War. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe today is one of those days where we have to really reevaluate. Especially for instance, a player like Sakura. I'm like, well, you handedly beat Jaedong.
He did.
There wasn't like anything lame that he did there or anything. We're like, well, if they played again, he knew this would never happen. Well, now it's over to ZBZ. Now, Jaedong is still the favorite here as he has the best ZBZ record, and I believe this is the best record in any match in all of StarCraft Brood War history. Jaedong is almost impossible to defeat in the ZBZ, but we've seen crazy stuff already today. Maybe today will be the exception to that as well. In the bottom right, in the orange, it's Jaedong.
How'd you know?
That's why I'm here, Artosis. I'm that good. In the upper left, in the brown, Hero.
Whoa, you got both of them.
I know.
It's really good.
I'm 2-0 right now.
Well,
and get ready for the 3-0 here. The map is Camelot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So,
like, and the game is Warcraft 3. No, wait! No!
I mean, so this is wide open. We've already been talking about Camelot quite a bit. Zergling's going to be pretty strong here, you know, without that ramp. Now, I feel like that. I feel like everything in this matchup favors Jaedong, just because he's so good at Ling Micro and he's so decisive that, you know, it's going to be hard for Hero to take him out. Let's see what builds they go with. Spawning pool.
Yeah, that was
spawning pool.
That was spawning pool, I believe, before Overlord.
Yep.
Some Zergs are using Overpool. Others are going for pool on 12. We've seen a lot more, as of late, pool first builds versus hatch first builds, but that may just be a current meta thing. I don't want to read too much into that because there's a lot of complexity with ZVZ. He's still not making a pool here.
Yeah, he's not. It looks like he wants to go hatch. No,
nope.
I guess not. Saving up quite a bit of minerals.
There are times where it can be said that it's a little bit better if you both go for pool gas, that the guy who went for it a little bit later, got a few extra drones, is pretty much ahead.
Yeah, that's generally considered to be the case. Like if you were to scout on a 4-player map your opponent with an Overlord right away, but he's scouting the other direction, then that would be an advantage because you get to just make everything a little bit later and have like an extra drone, which means more units.
Every drone is so important in this matchup.
But even though there's some rock, paper, scissory type aspects of ZVZ where you get advantages, we always called it JVZ, Jaedong versus Zerg, because there isn't a disadvantage for him. Like we've seen him with the worst disadvantage positions ever in ZVZ, just destroy his opponent. It's crazy.
So there's something very subtle that's going on here from Jaedong. As you see, he has his lings tucked down here in the bottom where the hatchery could be made. And he hasn't moved them out underneath the Overlord just yet. And it looks like he's going to continue to make lings until ling speed is done. And once that's done, he is going to make a beeline over to this base. In fact, the way that the Overlord's scouting, he's going to wait until that red Overlord there for Hero goes just to the right. And he has this timing. I think he actually went 1 second too soon.
Yeah, now look, he's showing some Zerglings running out. So, and when the Overlord gets in there, he'll just see a layer on the way.
No,
so
I think he moved the lings out a second too soon. But I don't know if it matters that he knows.
Huh. Maybe he did, but this is a lot of Zerglings coming up right now. Hero's going to be in trouble here. He might have to pull a few drones to actually help defend against this.
Okay, the drones are now coming out. The angle here, though, for Jaedong is not bad. Jaedong's going to try to run by. Did he overextend, though? Good hit on that drone.
Yeah, excellent micro so far here by Jaedong. The drone's getting in and messing up the AI quite a bit. Look at that. More lings coming up for Jaedong, picking off multiple drones.
And he's going to get... Oh! One does get away. More lings are headed northbound right now. Both players with ling speed done.
Yeah, let's not forget, Hero has 2 hatcheries, so Jaedong actually has to fall back a little bit. He's running 2 lings by. He hopes to be able to pick off some extra drones with this and maybe make more lings chase him around because the production right now definitely goes to Hero.
Okay, he targeted down the one drone that was bruised, and he loops right back out. He's keeping this one ling alive over here because he doesn't want the counter ling pressure to hit him too hard.
Yeah. And he is running his lings back out across the map. He's going to be threatening a counterattack as much as he possibly can. It really feels like Hero should be making pretty much nothing but lings here and abusing this double hatchery advantage.
Now, the layer is done here for Hero, but he has not started to Spire, and he may not start one for a little while here. Whereas Jaedong's Spire is at about 400 HP, so it's about 2/3 of the way finished.
Oh, man. Hero is starting to move out. He has a lot of Zerglings right now. Jaedong's still running around with this one, keeping it alive for 100 years.
Yeah, he's just doing a great job. He comes in here with some of his own lings, right? The angling here actually was not quite as good as I think he thought it was going to be, but he still will come out on top by just barely.
Just barely. Going to chase some of these drones away. So even less mining now going on for Hero. Oh, my God! Almost gets that drone. Is he going to be able to pop him?
Gets it. Great play. And the follow-up behind this is to get one sunken colony while he texts to mutas and tries to rush out. Was there an Evo chamber made?
He's making one right now.
Okay, there has been one made.
Yeah, so he's starting to defend against that. He's going to have to threaten running in with lings, which will keep mutas at home to defend against that a little bit. This is getting pretty complicated right now for both these sides. They both have completely different advantages, right? We have the extra hatch right now for Hero, the extra production of those lings, whereas Jaedong with a single sunken, no lings to defend. He has to be very careful with these drones.
Okay, the lings are now coming in here, but the targeting right now from Hero is really good. Is Jaedong going to lose too much? He has 1, 2, I think 4 to 5 drones left.
I think he has 5 or 6 maybe, but definitely he lost a few there.
We need to get another shot of that down there.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
There was one just off the camera there.
Yeah. So, okay, keeping 6 alive. He has this Mutalisk lead that's really not going to go away. The odds of this ending with Hero having more mutas is pretty low. Jaedong's going to have to find a way to work these mutas. He's flying across the map right now. Multiple spores being made for Hero.
Now, Jaedong's leaned back on making some more lings, hoping that there's possibly a ling deficit back at home, and the lings can come in and kill the drones instead of the Mutalisks.
Yeah, and if you have a ling lead here at all, not only can you kill drones, but the spores are left undefended. So that's really, really important. If your mutas get to fight, then they just win.
He's made 1 additional drone here with his army. Note that Jaedong is no longer mining gas. He has instead gone right back into minerals. He may attempt to get another base up of his own. There's still no spire up and finished yet. Oh, good catch.
Yeah, very nicely done. Going to start picking off a little bit here at the gas.
And any damage you can do here is nice, because these glaives will end up hitting the drones if he gets the right angle on it.
That's right. Look at that, another drone.
That's actually pretty huge.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Hero had 2 drones in a row rallied in that direction.
The lings are moving out now. Now he's going to try to just damage a few of these lings while these other lings come in here for Jaedong. And keep in mind, these mutas can block this off.
This is so well done. He's trying to stop these lings from coming in. They do come in, but he picks 2 of them off before they get there. And his lings just barely end up winning. Does lose a muta.
So he's got these few lings over here. He's trying to get this spore colony, and instead of getting the drones.
Oh, man, the drones coming up actually to fight against these Zerglings.
Oh, that's so smart. As he fishes those out, he then comes in and hits those drones of his opponents that are trying to hit those lings. This is all very technical, what Jaedong's trying to do right now.
Look, Jaedong so far against this mass turtling of Hero has picked off 4 drones. 2 of which were kind of bad coming from the main to the natural for Hero. That was sloppy, but picking up those other ones with the lings, very well done.
He needs to save this 1 drone. Every drone is precious. Okay, he does manage to take that out and send that back home. And he started massing up a few more Mutalisks again here.
He's got to fit out as many as possible. Now, Hero is teching up right now into his own Spire. He has the possibility to take another gas, but that actually... Does that spore, because the back of the map, like the top of the map, I guess we say, is right there. I think the mutas could hit the gas, though, yeah. So he actually can't take that without another spore anyways.
Oh, man, these are some really good connects on these drones. Takes out 2 more, and he's going to come in again. I'm actually surprised Hero ended up moving that over there.
Wow. Well, you see how Jaedong can just kind of outplay people in CVC.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sitting here with such a small amount of Mutalisks right now. Now, a bunch of lings are going across. Oh my God.
He gets another one.
The single Zergling counterattack. Madness.
So we have, let's see if we can get a count here. I think he's got about 11 or 12 drones.
For Hero?
Hero, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he has a little set of lings right now. That sounds about right. A bunch of them waiting kind of at that 3rd base location. He's waiting for the mutas to displace himself so he can try to go in there, maybe cancel that base. And in fact, a lot of the units leaving.
This counterattack, though, is pretty big, man.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that much to defend. And these speedlings can make quick work of a hatchery or drones.
He has to turn around immediately. Jaedong does. He's trying to pull this drone back. That will definitely be picked off.
Oh, my God.
Or completely not.
He actually saves it.
Oh, my God, no. No, he's sacrificing all the lings to get the drone. You got it. Okay, he actually ended up getting 2 drones there, I believe. Still, though, that was like, how many, 6, 8 lings? Not sure if completely worth, but now he's starting to mine a lot more gas, so this Mutalisk count can start to rise.
Okay, now Scourge are being made here for Hero. And even though it's a funny situation because the mutas can beat the Scourge if they're controlled correctly. However, they have to keep running, which means that while lings are coming in, you can end up getting overwhelmed. By the way, you do not want to get the...
that was exactly what he was looking for.
You do not want to get an Overlord with Scourge, in case you guys are wondering. That's not a thing.
No. That is a unbelievably rare circumstance where you want to do something like that. But if flying in and catching a muta that pops out, that's a muta that's not going to be microed away in time. So very well done, sending another couple Scourge down here. Of course, he's not just going to send them blindly at the mutas themselves. That would not work out well.
But getting that Mutalisk Assassination, just running in there, knowing the timing when they're going to be coming out, is a fantastic play.
Yeah.
Jaedong has come back to his base. He's defending a little bit more. In Zerg versus Zerg, air versus air, there's 2 upgrades you can get, either attack or armor. And basically, armor is always better, because if the mutas have to face the other mutas, because they have those glaives that bounce and hit other units, the armor is much better, since 3 things are being hit instead of 1.
Yeah, it's a massive, massive advantage. If you have that and the same amount of mutas, you just win. Ooh. Nice micro there by Jaedong, picking off those couple Scourge. Hero gambling a little bit with his Scourge now. He has a good bank of gas at the moment. He's mining very well. He's got great defense at home, too, let's not forget. He kind of has a little bit of flexibility to try some things with these Scourge, because it's not like Jaedong can go kill him.
One thing that we got to point out here is that Jaedong is kind of safe against ground. He's got enough mutas, he's got enough lings, and he has his Sunken Colony in his main that keeps him safe, but he's not safe against air necessarily if Hero gets too much. Whereas Hero is basically, he cannot be touched by Scourge or mutas in his main. It's the ground that he's most afraid of.
Now, the Mutalisk counts, this is where it's starting to get really important that we try to figure out how many mutas are in these stacks. The fact that 1's being left there for Jaedong could signal that he has the 11. And this is where it can be kind of funny, too, because when you start getting over the 11, they don't get microed as efficiently.
Right.
Because you have them in groups of 11 with an Overlord so that they stack, they're hard to count, they're hard to target, and all that sort of thing. They all shoot at the same time. All these things are so important for Mutalisks.
Oh, my God, that was such a good catch. He just knows when the mutas are going to come out and intercepts him with those Scourge.
Very well done there by Jaedong. Both of them getting quite high Mutalisk counts. Look at these supplies, 50 each. Very close at the moment.
So in Muta versus Muta, you're probably wondering, where does the game go from here? Well, you could try to get a 3rd base and get more gas, but that gets a little bit tricky, right? You don't have a ton of workers that are mining. And it's hard to get too many more workers, because you really just want to keep making as many Mutalisks as possible. So occasionally we see the fight over the 3rd, or one player decides he has a critical amount. In this case, it could be Hero. If he decides he has enough and has an upgrade advantage, he just goes for it.
Jaedong getting ready to take a 3rd base right now. I do like that as the choice, because if you, like, as you said, Tasteless, he can't really attack Hero because he has those spores. So any Mutalisk battle, even if Jaedong has a couple mutas more, he's going to end up losing it over a bunch of spores plus the closer rallies.
So these Scourge that are flying around, they're to try to monitor where the Mutalisks are here. Jaedong miscontrolling a little bit there. Whenever Jaedong leaves his base with his mutas, if he doesn't know where his opponent's Mutalisks are, the Mutalisks of Hero can come in and kill off all the drones and then go back home and be fine.
He's actually got a pretty good spread. Just a few lings here and there running around trying to watch us, and the Scourge, as you said, as well. And he's taking that 3rd base, so this is really, really important. If he just gets that extra gas, then he can start producing more mutas. Now, there can be, if this just keeps going like this, more tech added in. You can get up to Hive occasionally. Devourers are very good against mutas. They add on those acid spores, which make them all take more damage, slow them down, stuff like that.
Right.
Of course, if you can get into a Defiler, Plague is pretty stupid against mutas.
Yeah.
These are somewhat rare situations, though.
Yeah, a lot of ZVZs never get to this point, by the way, guys.
Yeah,
Usually it's they've harassed each other, worker count slowing up, something meets the tipping point. Something happens and there's no turning back from here. Now, I don't believe that Hero knows about the location. He's not even watching those mutas right now. Okay, takes that out. They're both getting ready to take their 3rd bases. It's almost done, in fact.
Jaedong's has finished. Heroes is a bit later, so that gives Jaedong a slight advantage on gas on the 3rd base.
Also, keep in mind that the 3rd base here for Hero does not necessarily have spores in it, and probably won't have spores in it just because of how low their minerals are for both of this.
Yeah, and look at the spreading as well that you see here by the lings. I love that a colony's going down there at that 3rd base.
Yep.
Because eventually they're getting these nice economies, right? They're still making mutas, but you are going to see as the bases get more spread out, lings run around some more. Like when they were both turtling on 2 bases, you can't run lings, right? Because you go in one little choke and the mutas are there and they just kill whatever comes. But now that things are getting spread out and the mutas have more ground that they have to cover, Zerglings are going to come back into play.
Okay. We have a very good, massive amount of mutas over here. Is Hero going to try to pick a fight? He just had a lot of mutas also hatch with this.
Yeah.
He may, in fact, have an advantage.
Yeah, I think he has a little bit more mutas right now, if I had to guess. But that's a sick catch there by Jaedong, picking 2 off. Oh, my God. Jaedong with +2 armor as well. Oh, big move right now, going for that third base, but Hero with a huge counterattack, a massive fleet of Scourge chasing down his mutas.
Okay, now he has to get as many kills in here as he can on these workers, and in fact, he's going to go for the Spire.
Oh, that would be huge. If he kills off that Spire, he'll always have that mutalist winning count. The muta's getting hit here by Scourge. I can't talk.
Okay, here come the rest of the Scourge, and the mutas are going to try to catch these right down here in the bottom right. I don't believe that Hero's going to have enough. In fact, Hero now on the run here as this Spire is being remade.
Oh
now, notice how Hero's splitting his mutas up in different directions so they can't all be chased down, and even leaving some back here in the hopes he can take out some more of these workers, and that's exactly what he's doing. This is really technical from both of these guys.
Yeah, it's well done by Hero, but just now his +2 carapace finish is definitely a big difference in that battle. But now that Hero doesn't have that third base, Jaedong will just get a higher mutalist count.
Yeah, pretty much. He has to wait for that Spire to finish, but I think there were so many mutas that took so much damage there by Hero. I don't know if he has time to catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, the Zerg is still mining gas, mining minerals and everything. So he'll have, once that Spire's done, enough to just make some more mutas. But once again, Hero is going to come down here and try to take out drones as Jaedong takes out that third base. So drones are now being evacuated because Jaedong's worker count is frighteningly low.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have any spores or anything because of that as well, losing all of those. Trying to chase down right now onto Hero's mutas, kind of flying at a diagonal, but he does turn around. That Spire almost finished, so he can start spending some of this extra gas. Look at that, he's got 500 gas banked right now. That's a big deal.
Yeah, he won't have that for too much longer, though. I think that Spire should be done by now.
Yeah, it just finished up.
And he's taken out, again, more of these lings that are trying to come in. Again, their worker counts are both so low that anything that's picked off in this game is actually pretty huge.
It certainly is.
Okay, Jaedong's coming in. And this is actually really nicely done. This Overlord, hold up. We need to see how these Scourge connect.
Oh my God. Massive amounts of Scourge coming in. That is going to be that. Jaedong taking down Hero in a wonderfully played ZVZ from both sides.
Yeah, he really knows how to play a ZVZ no matter what the circumstances. And Jaedong moves on to the final match against Last. GG.
Wow, that was a sick one right there. Really, really fun. You know, a lot of the times when we have that double hatch against a guy who's flying around 3 mutas, something decisive will happen and someone will lose, but these guys both held it together, played a very nice macro game after that.
Well, Jaedong's not out of this yet. He has to go up against one of the best Terran players of all time, Last, who is looking absolutely terrifying and is known for having a very solid TVZ.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. Luckily, it's not going to be on Camelot. It's going to be on Circuit Breakers. So definitely Jaedong, he has his chances. He knows how to win a ZVT. I mean, give him one map against anyone, Tasis. He definitely can take it.
That's right. Hero played a great ZVZ back there, but it's pretty hard to beat Jaedong. I mean,
yeah.
Historically, he's always had the greatest ZVZ. He's basically a Zerg that's also a Zerg killer.
Yeah, he's like got the greatest win percentage against Zerg of all time, and he's a Zerg player, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of rooting for Jaedong in our next match, but if Last wins, I can't say I'm really surprised. So,
well, Last is someone that might just straight up win the tournament. As good as Jaedong is, I don't look at him winning this tournament in particular. It doesn't feel like that. I guess we haven't seen him too much lately because he did have to skip the team battle, but I don't know. I hope that they show a good game for their fans.
We'll be right back after the short break, so don't go away.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
이게 도대체 뭐야?
대박.
소름.
사전 등록하면은 소미 캐릭터 준대요.
아버지와 더 가까워질 당신, 질레트가 응원합니다.
영상 왔다. 잘못 냈다가는 어떤 취급받으냐면 김종국 취급받습니다. 황간창법. 생각의 전환이 조금 필요합니다. 고음부터 빡 주세요. 뭐야? 진짜 본인 목소리예요? 아니 톤이 너무 신기해가지고 나는. 뭐야? 노렸어요?
월드 오브 탱크블리처 맞춰주면 터지죠 나이스. 야, 내가 제일 잘하는 것 같은데 일반 요즘들 중에 맞지? 소련이 좋다고? 이거 멋있더라. 사막. 오고 자 운전 잘해줘야죠. 뒷부다 나와. 죄송합니다. 터집니다. 너무 탱크 새끼들 앞만 보고 있지. 당원의 장사. 탱크가 너무 약해. 튕겼습니다. 이 튕겨 나오네. 왜 이렇게 센데 이 탱크. 월드 오브 탱크 블리츠 많이 사랑해 주시고요.
뭐야 이게? 설마 탄?
전국민 슈팅 그라운드 탄. 지금 사전 예약하세요.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
얘들아, 힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
And we are back here at the ASL, and it's our final match. And it's kind of been a wild day because Jaedong lost in the very first game we had today, which knocked him into the losers. And then last didn't win in the winners. So now we have Jaedong versus last. So one player is going to move on, which is great. And what sucks is that one player is going to be eliminated.
Yeah, and if last wins here, right, he gets second place, or whoever wins basically gets second place, and then it's whoever wins this match either plays Flash or is super favored to go into the round of 4. So this is pretty important for these guys right now and for the tournament in general.
That's right. We'll have to just see what these guys are going to try against each other. I actually hate to say this, but I think that last might be slightly favored over Jaedong.
I would say he's favored here. He's so brutally good at this matchup right now, and from Jaedong, even though we've seen him battle well, like against Flash last season, we haven't seen like straight up awesome god tier perfect play that would make you think that he's favored against last.
Well, also, I feel like last, along with Flash, have such a strong grip on any normal-looking TVZ at the top level. That's not a rush. That's not a crazy all-in. That's not like you're trying to trick them by doing this and then I got this tech.
And it's
now,
not. It's
that being said, Jaedong can win this, but I think
Yeah.
it's going to be very tough against a player like Last. In fact, some players in Korea are saying that Last is a better player than Flash is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, haters always going to hate, but
I think it was Socrates that said that.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain about it. Him or Kierkegaard, I can't quite recall, but you know, I would say that it's not completely impossible. You know, we talk up about Flash and Last a lot because they are so good, but if Jaedong can get the third base without too much trouble, get that third gas up, we can definitely go to a big macro game where it gets really insane. And in that type of situation, if you're not super behind as a Zerg, it's not that bad, right? You get the Dark Storm out, you start plaguing stuff, and Terran has a hard time of things.
Very true. Last is, he is just terrifying. His early mid-game TVZ is no joke. Jaedong is going to have to be very effective at asserting his mobility on the map, or I think Lash is going to close this out. At the same time, though, Jaedong knows when to mix it up and when to do a crazy build. But, you know, a best of one in general, that's tough.
Yeah,
best of 3, best of 5 with these guys, I'd love to see that. But with this one, I just have no idea what they're going to do. Let's not forget that Last actually went for a bunker rush.
That's true.
In his earlier games against Hero. So he never really showed what his TVZ was going to look like today. I think that was very intentional.
Yeah, this is a different map here as well, right? Andromeda is a little bit harder for Terran overall. Like, it's a tough map for any matchup for a Terran player. So having circuit breakers, I think it's less likely that we see him do a proxy. I think
he will not proxy here.
Yeah, I think it's more standard play and just trying to, you know, go up to those 5 racks, have your +1 stim range Marines, and try to keep Jaedong off of the third as long as possible is going to be sufficient for Last. If I was Last, I would try to play a purely mechanical game right now, which is like a crazy thing to say against a player like Jaedong, but I think that that's going to be his best chance. I don't think you want to get too fancy against Mr. Pants himself.
I could not agree more, Artosis.
We didn't know they called Jaedong Mr. Pants?
Mr. Pants, Dr. Pants to you.
King Pants the third.
Our map is Circuit Breakers. It's a 4-player map. Jaedong versus Last, a Zerg versus Terran for the last game in the round of 16. Let's see who survives into the round of 8 in the ASL. I'm sure you guys heard the difference in the cheers there. Some people were cheering for Last, but it was mostly for Jaedong. In the upper right, in the purple, it is Last.
Here to crush the fans' dreams.
In the bottom right, in the brown, it's Jaedong.
Okay. Let's see if anything cray-cray happens. Excited to see if Jaedong wants to open mutas or some sort of Ling Lurker strategy.
So Zerg, there's a lot of different openers Zerg can use, but what you have to keep in mind, most importantly, if Terran's not bunker rushing, is that Zerg eventually needs to get a third base up and get gas up so that he can support either mutas and or lurkers with his army. And also Zerg needs to rush up to a hive while still being as effective as possible on the map at dealing with whatever the opposing player is throwing at him. So Terrans know that, and over the 18-plus years that Brood Wars, is it 19 now, or is it 18?
Released in 98 or 99.
It was 98.
It's like 19, I guess.
19 years this game has been out. Terrans have become more and more effective at tripping the Zerg up as they try to get to the third base. Since Zerg has always operated, no matter what iteration of StarCraft, whether it's 1 or 2 you played, Zerg basically need to be ahead in bases. How many, it depends on the phase of the game, but the Zerg has to take the third before the Terran does. And so Terran's just really good at getting in the way of that.
Yeah. It's very interesting just to see how the metagame has shifted and evolved since the old days as well, because people just are... It feels like everyone's more comfortable taking later bases as Terran now in these matchups.
I agree completely. It's
really,
very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Now, a Command Center first build as last opening, this is obviously very economic. It's
somewhat risky.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not too scary to pull off against Zerg overall. Zerg almost never early pulls because it just doesn't really do much. SCVs are linebackers. They have, I don't know, like 250 health or something. So like early game,
more like 60, but yeah.
Well, you know, somewhere in that range at least. Maybe you're a little bit closer to me on that, but it's not really that scary a build to go against Zerg. This is definitely something that Terrans will just mix in, and Zergs are aware of it.
And it's never a bad idea on a 4-player map, basically.
Yeah.
So the Terran this time around went for a much more econ heavy, or I'm sorry, the Zerg rather went for a much more econ heavy build. 3 hatches and then a pretty late extractor. And so that's that is telling us that he doesn't want to do any aggression right away. He wants to drone up. He wants to have a lot of muscle, so that he really has a lot of tools at his disposal later on to try to combat the Terran.
And that's what we want to see out of these guys anyways. Big 4-player map. If anyone's trying to do a rush, they're too high of a caliber really to make that work out here. So the SCV will be kept alive for quite some time, just kind of doing a little bit of scouting. If you can see when the layer starts, it's very useful. Of course, if a Hydralisk Den were to go down, that would be a crazy moment that if his SCV sees it, like if the SCV is alive, you just wouldn't even do that strategy anyways because it would never, ever work then.
Yeah, you want to make sure that Terrans are really taxed to use their scans to try to figure out what you're doing, and you want them to burn a lot of those scans so that maybe later on, let's say that you do have lurkers, they have one less scan to fight you on the map with that.
And this is actually exactly why you always see the 3rd hatchery like reasonably far away from the other ones, because a scan is the size of a hatchery and the creep around it, basically.
Yeah, well said.
If you have 3 hatches and then Terran has 2 scans, believe me, this was my bane against In Control. It was you just have to guess which hatch the tech is at.
Yeah. No, see, when you see that 3rd hatchery, normally you guess that the tech's going to be there, but then Zergs will just play around that and be like, no, it's in my main.
Let's put a Hydralisk Den at the natural. Like it's like, oh.
Oh, In Control actually did that a decent amount. He would actually trick people in other matchups where he just have like a den there, but he's like making mutas anyways.
Yeah, let's not talk
about
oh my
god.
I lost a very important game to him. That was exactly that. But yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. But the SCV was alive a long time. You saw basically the timing of the layer. Looks like that should be a Spire over there, right?
It looked like it was the size of a Spire.
Yeah,
let's take another look. I think you're right.
So.
I don't know. eBay coming down here. It's to the right. Help us shine.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. It's a Spire.
Okay, so pretty standard opener here from Jaedong. Of course, with the Command Center first build of last, he's not going to be sad at all to see that this is what it is, the mutas. He's going to have a huge amount of bio. Definitely going to go into the 5 racks, if I had to guess, because this is where Last and Flash specifically can show their power as macro Terrans.
Yeah, so a lot of this macro Terran play is pretty scary for the Zerg because just the sheer amount of Medic Marine you have that are moving around the map has to be respected. And it also makes it tough for things like lurkers to be used in the middle of the map because the Marines will just get a good surround on it. And even with Zergling Mutalisk, it's pretty tough because the Terran just has such a high number of units.
Oh man, already this bio, he caught a few of these Lings trying to do a counterattack, so that was a nice move.
He actually might have enough to bust him here. I don't see.
Oh my god.
Here we go.
Okay, another sunken finishes. Another one is on the way. The drones get pulled very, very late here, and the fire bats are getting up on top of everything before the drones can get in. Uh-oh, this is not looking good.
The drone drill is not working out. Looks like he just barely had enough to hold that.
God.
Jesus.
He was, just
so
slow. You can see Jaedong almost bouncing in his chair right there because that was like he almost died right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely predicted this a little bit wrong, Tasteless. It looks like he's teching up a bit quicker. Last is off of 3 racks. He's teching up towards his starport.
That's right. But it, of course, could look to the Zerg like it is the 5 racks that we were talking about.
This actually gives Jaedong the ability to get a 3rd base because his 3 hatch Ling Muta cannot be bowled over by just 3 barracks of bio. But it's going to give Last a stronger push, like a possible death push, in fact. If he goes into tank Science Vessel from here, you can move out and with 2-3 tanks, and it's going to be very hard, even if you have lurkers at that point, to hold that push off. Much more old school style.
Yeah, well, these players do know how to mix it up. Looks like he does manage to get the SCV making the refinery. So Terran has to get into a defensive position here because there's so many mutas out here, and Jaedong is in control as well as any of the other best players in the world. And from here, he's getting the Hydralisk Den, but also getting the Queen's Nest so that he can tech to the Hive. And he wants the Hive because he needs Defilers, because you can't function in this matchup at the highest level without having Defilers eventually.
Yeah, that third base just going down right now. He had a little window to do it before, but I think it took him a moment to realize exactly how much bio there's, exactly how many racks is as well. I love the huge amount of turrets in here as well. He really does not want to be taking damage from these mutas, and so far so good. This is not bad damage.
So far so good here. This muta control's been very nicely handled. And you can really see the abuse that mutas can deal. They can dive in and turn around immediately, and because they're stacked in this clump like this, there's not that much the Terran can do as far as targeting goes.
Yeah.
You have to try to find that squishy muta in that group. And therefore, a lot of times you're just firing at a random muta, hoping that you're going to get a kill. And of course, then they run away. Zerg units heal up.
You're always clicking on the mutas, though. Never attack moving into them, really.
Yes, yes, you always want to A-click on one because at least everything's hitting one thing that time.
Otherwise, they literally actually never die. A million Marines all lose. You have to be targeting. But look, this is really fantastic micro out of Jaedong, and this is part of why I felt like he should be going for the 5-rack strategy, keeping Jaedong down a base and whatnot. It is a big map and all, but
he's not even getting tanks. He's doing the Vulture play.
Yeah, it looks like it.
This
but
is
it
just
looks
so
like he's going
trendy now.
Science Vessel with this also. You know, this will force Jaedong into a more defensive stance, having mines out there and running vultures through to try to kill off drones at the third base. Definitely there's some strong aspects to playing like this. I am surprised, though, to see that he's going vultures instead of any tanks, because he doesn't really have a lot of map presence with this army right now.
So he's going to morph 3 lurkers here on the ramp so that these vultures do manage to get all the way around. They should die to the lurker spikes trying to get in there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, as long as he morphs that one on the ramp and prevents these vultures from getting up, he should be all right.
You have to position it just right. And if you do, the vultures can't get up there. They're too fat as units. And you need some more battle. Almost glitched through. That was pretty sick.
Okay, so it does force those vultures back. Really good moment right here for Jaedong. He's going to have that third base up and mining for a very good amount of time, it looks like. Nidus Canal already on the way. Defiler Mound on the way. Single Science Vessel is out.
Terran may try to push this location over here at the third, but keep in mind that nice snipe on the medic. Keep in mind that the Nidus, with that connecting the 2 main bases over here, it's going to be pretty tough for Terran to bust this down.
Yeah. Like, these spider mines are still useful, but everything's going to be traveling through Nidus anyways. So nothing for Jaedong really should be running into that. It'll spot some, and maybe later on these will pay off, but the vultures right now are not doing the most. That was so much damage.
Yeah, you got to be very quick at splitting that. That irradiate does splash damage to all those units over and over until one of those mutas dies. So 1 or 2 good irradiates, if the Zerg doesn't respond in time, they lose their entire muta clump.
And that was a pretty good pullout, but it was in there just slightly longer than you really want. So the mutas have been bruised up a little bit more. You have to be careful about engaging with them.
By the way, Jaedong has a very healthy economy on 3 bases right now, whereas Terran is just now beginning to take his third and will be switching into mech.
All right, sick. He's, in fact, expanding right now also. So this is looking like it should go into one of these really big macro games. And this would lead us to why exactly Last wanted to go into the Vultures. They are going to be able to help him to transition. If he had gone into tanks, he'd have basically just have a push with no real transition into the mech play. He would have had to stay on bio a bit more. But anyways, all that being said, a dropship is out. Last still walking around the map right now, and Jaedong looking like he wants to take another base.
This might be a little bit dicey. Let's see if he can get enough burrowed up over here. If he has a nice line of lurkers and the Marines can't get in, but I am a little bit worried about a dropship coming in here and that getting relocated, a science vessel loading up, and possibly getting an irradiate on these mutas as well.
Okay, let's see. This dropship going to drop off 4 vultures into the main base. Oh my god, does Jaedong see it? Does he bring these Scourge over? He'll get the dropship, but still, 4 vultures can do a lot of damage to these drones.
Yeah, just like against Protoss, if vultures get over to where the drones are mining at, then you're going to get a lot of kills. And of course, these lings are not going to be very handy against all these vultures that just managed to do so much damage to them.
Yeah, that was really good. He cleared quite a few drones there, but Jaedong was actually pretty drone heavy there anyways, so his economy's still looking strong. He's taking this 4th base. He's got his Defiler tech up, and while the mech transition has started, it's not like he has enough to just push across and kill right now. He's mostly in harassment mode.
So far, so good here for Jaedong. But this is the phase that Zergs have also had a hard time with. After the third base is up, this mech transition, the Zerg seems to be a little bit crippled in what they can do on the map. The Terran, with all these speed vultures and mines laid everywhere, are not able to move out, and that's when Terran can a lot of times run up there and just grab the main in the upper left. And then they just make so many factories, it's really just so hard to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the whole point of it. You have to out-macro, basically. But the Defiler is really the backbone of Zerg in this matchup. Like, you might look at the supply right now, and this is a new ad with the new patch. We've never had this before in games. You might look at that and be like, wow, well, I mean, Last is just going to win. It's not that simple, really.
Yeah, supply doesn't work the same as it does in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Like, we can't, for the way they tech, like, Zerg can actually last right now for a while.
Yeah, Zerg is still fine as long as he doesn't take too much damage anymore. Like, Last is playing fantastically. You see how good he is, how many bases he's taking. That is what is scary, not the fact that right now he's up 50 supply. Because the Defiler is the great equalizer. Terran just doesn't really do anything against Dark Swarm.
A maxed out Zerg army is possibly the most dangerous thing in the game, because you have to keep in mind how low the supply cost is for all these Zerg units, where it's a little bit higher here for the Terran. So the Terran doesn't have that many more units. It's just the units cost more supply overall. Now, he's irradiating this, which worries me a little bit, because I think instead of the mech killing him, the bio push actually might end up winning the game for him.
Look at this. 5 irradiates right in a row, so he's only going to have a single lurker. He's got to send more through here. A single lurker is super breakable. Even if you have the Defiler there, the single lurker isn't really enough. Ooh, that was actually a pretty nice Plague.
That was great.
The Vultures aren't as important, but like Plague is... Defiler spells are basically free. You just need Zerglings to get more mana, so...
So he's going to go ahead and take out all these Widow Mines over here. Spider Mines, excuse me.
Imagine those are Widow Mines.
Oh,
all these
man,
mutas would be
all the
screwed.
mutas die.
I think Jaedong would uninstall this game immediately. Like, no.
You're telling me that the Vultures lay Widow Mines?
Yeah. By the way, each Nidus tunnel only goes the one that you made with it. Just FYI, you don't pop them in and tell them on mode. So you got to remember which Nidus goes where.
Yeah, that's right. You can't sit inside the Nidus.
And it's like an insta pop out too. So, anyways, this like Last is showing why he is considered by some to even be better than Flash. Look at the map. Look at how yellow it is. He's got so many bases, so much production.
Okay, this is cute.
Ooh, utilizing the Plague. I really like how much Plague Jaedong has already been showing this game.
I think he was supposed to eat the other Overlord and then put a Dark Swarm down there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that.
And here we go.
Okay, well, that one gets off all of its spells.
So this way, the Terran can't mine.
Yeah.
The SCVs are way softened up. The mutas are hitting everywhere. And this is a very technical and cheap, very cheap way to try to dismantle the Terran here. While the Terran's trying to put pressure on this bottom left base, I'm not sure if it's going to work, though. Now, there he goes. He eats the Overlord for the next Dark Swarm.
Yeah, this is really cool stuff. Look, he even gets a Zergling in underneath. I love it. The Muta is still flying around and making some havoc. You know, the Science Vessels are kind of his anti-air right now. So if he just doesn't have the mana, then these Mutas do some work. Now, you don't really want to make Goliaths.
Losing these tanks to Ling, Muta, Lurker is not the way it's supposed to go down. So I think Zerg may have been able to bust out on the map. The Goliaths are just spread everywhere. In fact, I don't see a single Goliath out right now that hasn't been killed by Lurkers over at these bases.
He has a few of them out at this point, it looks like. It's cleaning up some of these harassments still. A great play goes down in the remaining bio. Definitely wants to clear that up. That's just being annoying to him right now. That'll be the end of the bio that we see in this game.
Now, keep in mind, with the bio now out of the game and it's basically just mech, it's going to be up to these mech units to hold off this Zerg harass, which is basically everywhere.
Yeah, we see some Scourge flying across the map now. This is really important, and this is what I was talking about in that SOC game. If you go Science Vessels as your anti-Muta, then eventually you're going to lose them all if you switch into mech. They don't defend themselves very well against Scourge.
No. With bio, you can just fire underneath them and you're fine.
Yeah.
Ooh, good mine trade there.
And look, these Dark Swarms doing so much work right now.
If Zerg can actually manage to cut circulation between the upper left and the upper right, there's a very high chance that Zerg can win the game. Between the Niduses that he can travel back and forth through, the plenty of free bases that Zerg has not taken, because the whole strategy here is for the Terran to try to mass expand and then overwhelm them with mech. And the fact that drops are going to be a big factor here as well. Oh my God, this goes to show you how fast cracklings do damage.
Jeez.
This is bringing back memories in my lost games.
Yeah.
My nexus just blow up.
Seriously.
It's like popping balloons in my base. All my buildings are just little Protoss balloons.
That, by the way, those Scourge, if they had connected, it would have actually killed that command center. So a little misplay there by Jaedong. Not the biggest deal. Wouldn't mind seeing him add a queen for style points next time that happens.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. He's also massing up Ling Ultra now. Now, Ling Ultra actually counters what the mech army is doing pretty hard, and the mech player needs to have easy Dark Swarm. The mech army counters pretty heavily what the Terran has, unless the Terran has way too much of the siege tanks.
Yeah, like enough siege tanks can splatter anything, but look at this. Ling Ultra everywhere. And this is where the drops really come in, and this is something that Sok was able to make not happen via having all those Valkyries killing off the Overlords. This is how you're going to break mass siege tanks, is by dropping all over them.
Now, because there's not a ton of anti-air here for the Terran, just the Goliaths, which don't gun down Overlords as fast as you would think they would, even though they're great against things like shuttles and carriers. With a ton of Overlords, you're basically okay. And more Scourge coming in here to connect on these science vessels.
Yeah, the science vessel is going to start to get picked off more and more throughout this game. He's trying to keep them alive, but Goliath's not a good counter to Scourge.
As you can see, these Ultras now wreck pretty much anything that they come in countering to. And the Ultras, by the way, in Brood War are a little bit tinier. They're not as clunky as they are in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, they don't have splash or anything either. They're definitely a little bit different.
Okay, now dropping armies on this mech army. Some beautiful Dark Swarms now going down here.
Oh, man, the Ultras getting on top of these siege tanks. Last in a lot of trouble at the moment. Oh, he's going to end up losing everything in the middle of the map. He's got to be as efficient as possible.
And this is the most important part of his army, is all of these tanks. If he loses all these tanks, he has to start back over from scratch, which means that there will be really nothing to combat the Dark Swarm with.
Yeah, that's rough. He ends up clearing the Ultras with just a few units left, but Jaedong is going to continue this type of strategy, flying around the map with Overlords, dropping Dark Swarms, Lurkers, Lings, Ultras, anything like that, even taking finally a 5th base. Let's not forget that Last has been mining more for a significant amount of time, so he's not out of it yet.
I think this is almost to the point where Jaedong can win here.
Yeah.
It's pretty much impossible to move through the upper left and the upper right here. He's got these massive drops. He's going to be dropping in on the high ground while bombing the low ground with all these Lings.
Lings, Lurkers, anything coming out of here right now, being as efficient as he possibly can. These are cheap units for Zerg. Getting on top of Last base in the top left. Last in a lot of trouble.
Jaedong showing us that you can, in fact, take on these meching Terrans in one of the hardest styles to play against.
Some great moves by Jaedong. He has Lings all over the map at the moment, really taxing the multitasking of Last. Last, a master of this type of play, though.
The Sunken colonies are finishing just in time as there's no counterattack option. Taking out the factories in the upper left means the only way for Last to move out is to come from the upper right, which would be much too easy for the Zerg to control with Dark Swarm.
With all these Lings and Ultras hitting that top left, Tasteless, if Last loses the top left, he's going to lose this game.
Yeah, and while that's happening, the top center is under attack from Lings. The remaining tanks are being picked off as well.
How does Last end up stabilizing? He's trying to get out here with Vultures, slow down the circulation units, throw down these spider mines, get some sort of value out of these, but it is not working out at the moment. Clearing out this top center base, sure, but the top left in so much trouble.
Yeah, the Ultras are continuing to spill through here. Wow, I didn't know where those tanks came from, but he's got a lot of them right over here. However, Jaedong is not slowing down with his Ultraless Zergling production. And as he continues to take these drops to wherever he sees them fit, it's going to be tough for the Terran to keep up with mech units. Think about that. Lane mines, trying to set up siege mode, right? The Zerg can opt to drop on that if he thinks he can take the fight correctly, or he could drop somewhere else, and that means those units have to pick up and move.
Yeah,
but I think he just barely managed to hang on to the upper left.
He's just barely stabilizing right now. You're very right about that. But as you were saying, it can be very difficult to maintain that stabilization if Jaedong starts dropping again on top of these units. Some more Overlords starting to make their way out. Jaedong looking for points where he can do some damage here.
Again, these small groups of Lings are so much cheaper than the tanks themselves. And with the Dark Swarm coming in here, this Terran army does literally no damage to it. This insane counterattack, though, may be the play that Last needs. He's coming down here, but we have so many Mutas at hedge.
Sickest move here by Jaedong. This is a tempo play. These Mutas have almost no upgrades, but they will clear this big attack on Jaedong's bottom left. In the meantime, Jaedong taking out one of the bases for Last.
He's actually going to evacuate the drones into the night as well. More links come down here. He'll pick back up and start mining again over there. And that was a huge amount of tanks that were lost there by Last in that desperate counterattack play.
Now, this is going to force a lot of Goliaths coming out of his opponent, and Goliaths do terribly against Lings, Dark Swarm, Ultras, all that stuff. They're going to counter the Mutas super hard, though. But this was a great move by Jaedong.
But he's sending the Mutas to the upper left, and I don't believe there were that many factories remaining over here. And even if he can't take on the Goliaths directly, he can always target down these tanks and then run away.
Yeah, if he can just sacrifice Mutas for tanks right now, it is a great trade indeed. These Mutas being worth their weight in gold right now. That top center base gone. Another one of Last mineral bases under attack greatly. There are some Goliaths in here, and they have massive upgrades, but with this many Mutas, it might not matter.
Yeah, he's continuing to target this down over here as more Goliaths are popping out. But if he can, again, get the tanks and take them out after fighting the rest of these Goliaths, then Terran doesn't have anything to defend with.
He certainly does not. A lot of these mines being laid right now by Vultures. He's got to make Jaedong run into some of these. A lot of the Lings coming out trying to clear it, but he's losing so many siege tanks.
And these are Goliaths popping out now, not tanks. So once those tanks are gone, there's not going to be that much to defend against the Ling Ultra.
Yeah, any other units that come in, it's going to be hard to stop. He's picked off so many units. Lings and Ultras starting to flood in here. And even though the Goliaths will easily dispatch the rest of the Mutas, Ultras are going to be a different story.
We saw the last Muta killed when that last tank up there was killed, and now Jaedong is trying to scramble and get this army over here before more tanks can come in to help defend his position.
He's getting on top of some of these siege tanks. Some Goliaths here to back them up. They will do some damage there since there's no Dark Swarm. A few mines going to be able to connect as well. Very nice defense. Last, somehow, some way, holds on to this top left.
This game is crazy. How back and forth it's been. Keep in mind, it's very difficult for Jaedong to move these massive armies up to the upper left. There's a limit on how much you can grab in Brood. We're only 12 units at a time. So he's filling up all of his hotkeys trying to grab these units and move them around the map. And the same is true for Terran.
And he's losing a lot of units to spider mines all over the place, and of course any tank volleys as well. So really, this is so APM intensive for both sides. They both have to move so quickly right now to keep this up. More Lings and Ultras coming up right now. Brings up a Defiler as well. That is the real killer right there. These Goliaths going to do nothing against a Dark Swarm.
And we're going to have another Dark Swarm come down here right now and engage this.
Oh,
I got the Terran. Very nice Plague, excuse me.
Yeah, that Plague just fantastic. The Ultra and Ling going to be able to clear out quite a bit of this, but everything going down so low in health. Jaedong still taking a little bit of damage here and there. I like that Last somehow during all of this is getting Vultures down to try to harass.
Now, it's important to note here that there are no longer any bases on the bottom half of the map that have gas at them, and the Zerg will eventually spend all of his gas.
Yeah, and those middle bases are so close to Terran.
They really are.
Really easily.
Yeah, so it's unlikely that Zerg is going to be able to expand there. So Zerg really has to beat Terran, because a lot of, Zerg has to beat Terran coming up here, because otherwise, if the Terran lasts long enough, Mech does beat Zerg in these positions.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that it really comes down at this point to Defilers, because Last is starting to truly hold on. He's got some Goliaths mixed in there. Drops are going to be harder. But if you get those Plagues off and those Dark Swarms off, you can break through these pushes.
This is a game of stamina right now, and these guys are showing a lot of it. Dark Swarms are coming down here. Did Last overextend? We have a lot more units from the bottom left side of the map spilling over here to the lower right.
Oh man, even a single Zergling under these Dark Swarms doing a lot of damage to the siege tanks. But everything is starting to live a little bit more here. Jaedong rallying up Zerglings, but his bank is just about dry.
More Lings and Ultras are coming down now. It seems like none of these units are all coming down at the same time. Instead, they're spilling in here in a line. No Dark Swarm on this Ultra just yet. If he could get one down, he'd be guaranteed to win this fight. But it looks like with the remainder of Lings now coming in, he will do just that anyways.
Oh man, just barely holding on. More units still rallying down here from Last. He's saying hyper-aggressive. I don't know if this is the right call with that Defiler there as well. These tanks could be taking out. Oh, nice target right there. He's trying to pick off these Defilers. So well done.
Okay.
Picks off 2 of them.
Cleaning up some more of those tanks. Terran has to back up and set up a position over here. Meanwhile, one Ling getting 4 kills over there. If Last doesn't pay attention, he'll lose all the workers.
Last is too busy right now to try to clear even a single Zergling in one of his bases. He's trying to break through Jaedong. Jaedong getting on top of these siege tanks once again. They are so well upgraded.
Yeah, what are the upgrades for Zerg right now?
He's full.
He's full,
yeah,
right? He's maxed
full.
out, but just a mech army with that kind of upgrades is just too scary.
Mech scales better on upgrades than anything in the game, so definitely really paying off for Last right now.
For the time being, Zerg can only take these 2 mineral bases. As we were saying before, the gas bases for Zerg on their side of the map have already been taken. And the center left and the center right it's a bit ambiguous. I think Terran could take it slightly more easily, but the odds of Zerg keeping that up and secure is pretty damn difficult.
He's having a really hard time. I love these Vulture moves as well. He's actually dropping Ultras on top of these, trying to keep them alive as long as possible. He just needs to keep clearing these mines. If the mines get set up, he can't really run in with his Ultras, and even the Lings can get cleared very quickly by a couple Spider Mines.
The combination of the Zerglings, or rather the Vultures on top of the Spider Mines, make it tough for Zerglings to clear because Vultures fire so fast and are very good against Ling Ultra, and so he can kind of spread these units out here, lay mines, pretty much drive this back.
Yeah, these minefields are so hard for Zerg to deal with. You can't just bring an Overlord out and have range units shoot him down. That is not how this game works.
This is a great counter here with these Vultures laying mines. That will force a lot of these Lings and Ultras through here, which could end up with them, a lot of them taken out. And he's targeted down every single drone, so that was mission accomplished there by Last.
Yeah, very efficient moves coming out of Last right now. His supply continues to grow in comparison to Jaedong's, but Jaedong still does have some mining going on. He still has an okay-ish amount of drones. He's got all his tech and his upgrades, but he hasn't done any damage to Last in a very long time.
Yeah, and now Last is going to be mining from all these bases here at the top. Now, that being said, there's another fact we have to keep in mind is that Terran has overall been mining from these bases at the top for longer, even though Zerg has been putting up a very good fight to slow him down. So Terran may mine out up there as well. Terran is also going to be running out of gases up here as well, which is going to mean that he's going to have to become more and more reliant on Vultures, and we might already be seeing the beginnings of that over here.
Yeah, and the Vultures, that's kind of a funny thing too, right? Because when they both start getting very mineral heavy, it's a lot more Vulture versus Ling. And if the Vulture player does it right, they are favored in this situation.
Is there any merit here, and I'm purely speculating, but is there any merit to trying to get Hydras, if they get low enough on the gas, where you just have Hydras with some Dark Swarm?
No, if siege tanks at this point with +3 attack, like Hydras don't even exist, and with 0 upgrades to their ranged attack, this would be like a terribly hard thing. This is why it can be very difficult against this many Spider Mines, because, again, you can't just go range units and clear them. That doesn't work. You can't go Guardians, because the Goliaths will knock them out. There's like some timings you can do with that, but not in this game. And he just has to continue. Like, Jaedong is playing it as well as he can.
He's going to try to drop here on this army. Now, this is possibly the climax of this game, because Terran is bringing everything he has down here to the bottom center, and the bottom center is probably the most mineral-rich location for Zerg at this point in time. He's coming in from every possible side, but the Goliath targeting is pretty damn good.
The positioning here by Last is way too strong, and this could be it. Tasteless, so many siege tanks just wiping the army. Damn, that was a good game.
Wow, that was a great game. Last has done it.
Yeah, he has taken out Jaedong, definitely one of the favorites for everyone of the tournament, as for fans, just everything. But Last, monstrous play there. Jaedong made a ton of brilliant moves. Those attacks to the top left almost broke Last, but he kept his calm, his cool, his composure, and his CCs.
I really thought Jaedong was going to win back there for a little bit, but it just seems like the Terran was able to hang on barely. And that was a tough spot for Last, trying to get those tanks over there. And then I think Jaedong spent a little bit too much time trying to continue to drop, regroup very well. And some of these counterattacks with those Vultures down there at the bottom just completely destroyed the momentum there for Jaedong.
Yeah, it was some good stuff. I love, by the way, his switching to mutas to clear that big push. That's a very tempo-based play. He spent a huge amount of money to do that, and unfortunately wasn't able to parlay that into a victory. Hey, congratulations, Last.
소감이 어떠신가요?
네, 일단은
It was a
승자전에서
nail-biting victory. How do you feel now?
올라갈 줄 알았는데 이제 호선이 형이 워낙 잘해가지고 이제 최종전에 왔는데 지금 게임이 너무 빡세게 이긴 것 같아요. 정신이 너무
saw the winner match. I thought it'd be an easy night.
경기 중에서 가장 좀 어려웠던 점이 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
I can't even remember that final match. It was a very tough
방금
night.
게임이 제일 힘들었던 것 같아요. 장기전도 이제 오래 하고 그러니까 제동이 형님이 이제 잘 막 흔들면서
I think that final
위험한
match was
상황이 되게
just
많았거든요.
unbelievably tough.
그래서 이제 경기 중에 좀 졌다고 생각할 때가
It
좀
was a long
많았어요.
game, and
근데
Jaedong is
어떻게 하다
definitely one of the
보니까
top
이긴 것
Zergs.
같아요.
Throughout the game, there was a lot of times that I thought I would actually end up losing.
SCV를 상대 드론이 발견을 해서 계속 때리고 있는 그런 상태에 취소를 해주면서 과감한 승부를 했는데요. 그때 어땠습니까?
You went
원래는
proxy racks
그
against Hero,
배럭이
but you
들키면 안
spotted it.
되거든요.
What was going through your mind
근데
there?
배럭이 들켜가지고 그래서 뒤가 없어가지고 그냥 배럭 취소하고 그냥 즉흥적으로 이제 치즈로
Yeah, I didn't really have a backup plan.
성공을 하게 되고
And he scouted me, so I just went for it anyways.
빠르게 올라가려고 했는데 약간 좀 컨디션이 안 좋았었는지 최우선 선수와의 그 경기에서는 병력들이 좀 잘못된
Seems
판단을
like you weren't
하게
in great
되면서
condition
패배를
tonight.
그때 어떤 생각으로 움직였던 건가요?
일단은 압박
And I
주면서 이제
spotted several
드랍십으로
times that I felt like you had bad decisions.
빈틈을 노리려고 했는데 그 틈을 이제 호선이 형이 되게 잘 파고든 것 같아요.
Well, into the rain, you're a caster, so shut up.
병력들이 서로의 본진을 노리는 상황이 되면서
Said,
좀
well,
패배할 수밖에 없는 상황이
You know, the dropship push I was trying to do, it seems like he really knew what I was up
가장
to.
위험했다 싶었던 때가 언제였습니까?
네, 일단은 처음에 뮤탈부터 이제 뭔가 좀
So in the final match, what do you think the dangerous moment was for you?
처음에 그리고 그 이후에 이제 막 여기저기 이제 흔들 때 그때
Says,
좀
well, that
정신을
huge
못
Needless
차리겠더라고요.
switch.
그래도 이제 막 어떻게 하다 보니까
And Jaedong running all over with those
흘러간 것
meters.
같아요.
예, 이제 계속해서 또 어려운
That
선수들을
really
만나게
hurt
될
my
텐데,
mentality quite a bit.
자그마한 오류도 이제 보이지 않아야만
And I
성공할
just
수 있는 것
kept trying to
아니겠습니까?
focus on the game,
이번
and somehow I was
시즌에는
able to win.
좀 알파고 그리고 또 이 온라인에서 거의 뭐 최강자라고 불릴 수 있을 만큼의 그런 성적 가능합니까?
네, 저번 시즌에 특히 허무하게 떨어져가지고 너무 아쉬웠는데 이번 시즌에는 이제 그 약점도 보완해가지고 이제
A lot of people call you AlphaGo Terran for your win rate in online matches. What's your goal?
김성현 선수였습니다.
네, 그러면은 8강전을 위해서는 어떤
Says I
점을
want
좀
to at least get seeded for the next season, which would be around
아무래도
4.
오프라인 경기 때 이제 실수가 좀
Anything else you want to
많은데 그거를 이제
In the round of 8?
보완해야죠.
실수 없이 더 완벽한 알파고가 되겠다.
Says it seems like I make more
네,
mistakes
끝으로 우리
offline than online.
팬분들께 인사 한 말씀 해주시죠.
So
일단은
I want to try to fix that.
형님을 꺾고 올라가게
Any last words to your
해서
fans?
좀 그런 것도 있는데 이제 응원해주신 팬분들 이제 정말
First of all,
감사하고요. 이제
feeling a little sorry to Jaedong's fans. A lot of them came down to the studio tonight.
네, 정말 축하드립니다. 김성현 선수 오늘 수고하셨습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
네, 축하드립니다. 지금까지
Alright,
마지막 승자
congratulations on your
김성현
victory, and
선수까지
thank you.
만나봤습니다.
It's too bad Jaedong didn't move on, but I think Last did play better back there.
That was such a close game, man.
I think
It
a lot of
definitely could have gone either way.
I think a lot of it doesn't even come down to how they played against each other, but also how their other games went that they lost. I mean, Sock managed to beat Jaedong and Last.
He's the one that screwed everything up, isn't he?
Yeah. Unless you're Sock, he's probably out partying right now.
Oh, yeah.
Best night of his entire career.
It is. He's just beat two of the absolute best players. So
in two different races too, especially beating Last in a mirror matchup. You can't really ask for a better night than that. So
it's pretty wild.
Sock moves on to the round of 8 along with Last. So we have our final setup for the round of 8 finished. We just need to make the brackets now.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to make these brackets. Here is our next round, guys. Flash, Mong, Sak, Last, Isu Best, Shine, Solki. I mean, I look at these names, I'm like, okay, Flash, Last, Bisu, Best. These guys absolutely top names. Look at Solki, I'm like, okay, this makes sense too. Mong, Sock, and Shine, these are surprises, but they played well to get here, and I guess you shouldn't underestimate them.
No.
But we're going to be doing that bracket draw coming up, and I got to say, looking at this, I think Best right now is sitting there, and he's like, okay, I am seeded for next season. I think that he's probably feeling very confident going in. Whereas everyone else, I'm like, ooh, this is just hard, man. Like, there are a lot of great top-tier players got that second place spot.
Now, Shine is our observer. He was observing today, but he's not been observing while he's playing. But right now, he's in the top 8 in the world, which is kind of a cool story here because observing pays off.
Observers are the greatest. Look at Adebisi.
That's right. That's right.
추첨을 통해서 A1부터 D1까지 전부 다 뽑고 난 이후에 2위 추첨을 할 텐데요. 한 가지 규칙이
Group
있습니다.
draw time.
같은 조에서
So
16강 내에서
basically, first place players will play second place players from groups, and you will not play someone that was in your group already. So, for instance, last will not be slain by sack in the round of 8.
각 조별 1위 선수의 명단이 들어가 있는 추첨총.
We're going to be drawing those balls in a second.
이렇게 투명한 아크릴 박스를 준비를 해왔습니다.
And by the way, guys, we have GSL code S tomorrow. It's going to be sick. Definitely
Wait, who's playing tomorrow? Is Major playing tomorrow?
A1에 들어갈 조별
I think Scarlet is. Scarlet's playing tomorrow.
Oh, Scarlet's playing
tomorrow?
Yeah,
the Major plays
so
next time.
sick. Guys, you got to tune into that. It's going to be so much fun.
자, 먼저 1위입니다.
Okay, let's see.
1위는
First seed.
A1부터해서
Oh, that's some
D1까지
great stirring.
들어가게 됩니다.
That's really good. It's like
you can tell she practiced for this. Okay, let's see what it is. What name?
들어주시죠. 선수 명단은요. A1은요. 자, A1.
Sock.
최우선 선수입니다.
All right.
와, 오늘
So Sock goes on to A1.
A1에 올라갔습니다. A1 최우선 선수를 붙여주시고요. 자, 이렇게 A1의 최우선 선수가
There it goes.
There he is.
자, 그리고 이어서
He has to play against A2. I'm thinking we're A2 here, man.
Yeah, me too. Let's see what happens.
Nah, he played really well tonight.
B1의 선수를 뽑아주시죠. 최우선이 남았고요.
Okay, this is the B1.
자, 이번에 각 조별로 1위로 올라간 선수들 3명이 남아 있습니다.
To be or not to be.
Like a farm fresh egg. There we go.
두 번째는 누굽니까? 두 번째 주인공은요. 들어주시죠.
It's
네,
Mong.
윤찬희 선수예요. 자, 이렇게 되면
Okay.
B1의 윤찬희 선수가
So
지금
B1
들어갑니다.
is Mong. Which side of the bracket
윤찬희
is
선수의
this? Let's
이름을
see. I'm excited.
B1으로 붙여주시길 부탁드리겠습니다.
Shuffle through there.
자, 이번에
There we go, we got Mong.
윤찬희 선수와
There he is.
최우선
Boop.
선수가 지금 들어가게
Okay,
됐고
so Sock and Mong.
다음은 C1과
One of these guys
D1이
could be in the
기다리고
finals.
있어요.
Who knows? Maybe
자,
we have a
이렇게 되면 여기
semifinal.
이제
Sock
두
versus
장의
Mong.
이름이 있거든요. C1의
see.
주인공을 뽑아보겠습니다.
Gotta mix up both of them.
우리 이영호 선수가 있습니다. 자, 이번에 주인공은요.
She should pick the other one, I think.
확인해 보도록 하죠.
So this is either going to be Sulky or Flash.
이번에 주인공은 김민철이네.
Sulky.
자, C1은 김민철 선수입니다. 김민철 선수가 지금 나오면서 C조의 첫 번째 카드가 결정이
What do you think
됐어요.
is in
자,
that
이렇게
last ball?
되면은 한 장 더
Is she
열어서요.
gonna? Here's the real
이영호
question:
선수가
Will
하고는
she
이제
mix?
자,
Will she
D1을 바로
mix that
붙이도록
one ball
하겠습니다.
that's alone?
자, 여기서는
No.
이영호 선수 이름이
No.
나와야 됩니다.
I think it would have been great though.
자, 확인해 보도록 하죠. 마지막 카드 이영호 선수죠. 이영호 선수는
And
D1에
Flash.
들어가게 됩니다.
Literal
자, 김민철
I thought it was
이영호
going to be
선수
Sulky
이름을
again. I guess I'm wrong.
붙여주시죠.
Okay.
자, 이렇게 되면 C1의
Well,
김민철 선수가 들어가고요.
the way our predictions have gone in this
D1에는 이영호
tournament,
선수가
may as well
들어가게
guess that.
됐습니다.
Sulky
이제
and
선수들의 운명을 결정지을 2위 선수들이 기다리고
And now
있습니다.
we have to go.
먼저 이영환 선수도
As you can see,
있고요.
the suspense is killing
그리고
everybody here.
김태경 선수도 있고
Yeah.
고재욱 선수가
Excited.
있고요.
Over
그리고
to
오늘 경기에서 2위로 올라온
number 2 side.
알파고 김성현 선수가 있습니다. 이렇게 네
Get
명의
ready for the
선수가
Stargirl shuffle.
A2부터 D2까지
Stargirls
위치를
we're calling
결정하게
this.
됩니다.
Oh my God.
자, 첫 번째 먼저 최우선 선수에 들어가 A2에 들어갈 선수를 뽑아야 되는데 오늘 최우선 선수 1위로
Anytime
올라왔기
now.
때문에 알파고 김성현 선수는 A2에 들어갈 수 없다라는 거 다시 한번
Right now,
안내해드리고요.
Caster Park is just saying the names of the players we've already been discussing who could be in there.
과연
And activate shuffle.
어떤 선수가 A2로 들어갈
Oh,
것인지
that, two of the balls didn't move. Okay.
Whoa!
Oh, there we go.
Mix it
There
up.
we go, Stargirl.
카드를 골라주시죠. 누굴까요? 자, 이권자 확인해 보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 이제 화면 통해서 공개를 해주시죠.
The suspense is killing me.
김태경!
Bisu!
Whoa, is this for A1?
I think so. Yeah.
와, 김태경 선수. 이번에
Wow.
김태경 선수를 A2에 뽑았습니다.
Now,
정말
Sock has
공정하게
managed
여러분.
to beat
투명
one of the best Terrans and one of the best Zergs, but now he has to beat the best Protoss.
Yeah.
And I think if he wins there, then we just end the tournament and give him the
I think we
trophy.
should.
It's like, you've
Then
done enough.
But then Mong beats him, and then like,
We're like, I don't understand
Mong
anything.
beats Sulky in the finals.
And eventually Artosis goes downstairs and plays against the winner of that, and then he wins, and we're like, nothing means anything.
No.
Like, Jaedong is now casting in English. This is
These games are all RNG.
Yeah.
Took us a long time to figure it out.
Yeah, only 19 years.
The odds of some of these players keeping 70% over this much time with that much RNG. Whoa. In the billions.
뽑아주시죠.
Okay, who is this?
도재욱.
Oh my God, it's best.
Is it best? I was going to guess best. But
알파고인가요? 아니면 누군가요? 들어주시죠. 들어주세요. 누구예요?
Shine!
와, 이영환
Everybody's like,
선수입니다.
what?
이영환
Shine's in this
선수가
tournament?
Oh, wait.
이렇게 되면은
Okay, yeah.
두
No, wait.
번째로 들어갑니다.
Yeah, so Shine goes to B too, right? So Shine or Mong will be in the round of 4. Either Shine or Mong is going to be seeded.
of
4. Oh my God. Right now, Best is looking at this now and he's like, okay. Look at these bracket sides. Bisu. Right now, he was watching this on his PC.
He's just turned it off.
He's on skymall.com buying dog beds that automatically feed your dog. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what
no
he's
doubt.
doing. He's finding a fountain pen that costs $1,000. Okay, kid hasn't written anything with a pen in 10 years. Okay.
도재욱 선수가 지금 남아 있고
Is it going to be Best?
도재욱이 아니면 알파고거든요. 김성현인가요? 도재욱인가요? 자, 누굽니까 이번에? 자, 뽑아주시죠. 김민철과 맞대결을 펼칠 상대는요. 누군가요? 뽑아주세요. 들어주시죠.
Oh my God, I can't believe this.
자, 기대가 됩니다. 누구예요? 도재욱!
Best.
와.
Best for Sulky. That'll be fun.
자, 이렇게 되면은
That's going to be interesting.
김성현이 이영우와 태태전을
What if Sulky
펼쳐야
moves
되는데,
on?
자, 도재욱 선수 여기
He
한번
could.
Best. I
He
think
could.
여기서
Sulky's
이영우가
really
If it's
good.
Best against Terran, I'm
여기서
like,
김성현
there's
선수가
no way.
나오는지
Yeah.
확인해 보겠습니다. 이영우 옆자리로 갈 김성현 선수가
Who is
확인되는지
it?
여기서
Who is
들어주시길
it?
부탁드리겠습니다. 최종
Suspense is killing
확인.
me.
김성현 선수가 나왔습니다.
Isn't that so
How
crazy?
fitting that he came last too. What does it mean?
결정이 됐습니다.
Well, now it's
자, 이제
Flash versus
위치
Last is what it
붙여주시고요.
means, and that's like
도재욱 선수가
stupid.
김민철 선수한테
That
맞대결을
is
펼치게 되고
Well, thank God we have Mong
이영우
versus Shine and Last
선수와
versus Flash.
확정됐습니다.
My
자, 이렇게
God.
되면요.
You know that
왼쪽 조와
neither
오른쪽
Flash
조가 만나기
nor
위해서는
Okay, so-
Last are happy with that pairing. And of course, there's a chance that Best wins there, and then those guys have to go up against Best.
까다로운 상대를 계속해서 만나고 있네요.
Didn't Best get top 4 last ASL?
Yes.
Yeah.
Last time Flash and Best both were top 4.
최우선, 김태경,
They might be again, who knows?
윤찬희,
But
이영환,
this is like kind of a crazy bracket. Look at this.
이영우와
One
김성현
of these
선수들이
brackets is
결정됐거든요.
not like the other. One of these brackets is just not the same.
선수가 최우선
Got that
선수와
right, Artosis.
김태경
Yeah.
선수입니다. 그리고 윤찬희 선수와 이영환
Can't even
선수고요.
believe it.
그리고 마지막은
Crazy
태태전으로
drawing.
결정이 됐습니다. 이영우 대 김성현. 그리고 세 번째 매치는 도재욱 대 김민철. 자, 최종 결과를
All right, that does it for our
화면을
group
통해서
selection,
안내해
guys.
What do we even say about this?
This is what the round of 8 now looks like.
This is so
Sock versus
madness.
Bisu, Mong versus Shine. On the other side, Sulky versus Best, and Flash versus Last.
Yeah, so we'll have Sock versus Bisu coming up, guys, on Sunday, and that is going to be an absolute blast.
And tomorrow we have the GSL Codes. That starts at 6:30, unlike our tournament here that starts at 7 p.m. It's 6:30 p.m. KST. Google that so you can know what time that is for you, wherever you are in the world.
Yes, and tune in 30 minutes before that for the bunker, only available on AfreecaTV/AFGSL, and you can talk with us.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll answer your question, talk back to you. I don't know. We'll see.
Depends on
matters how we feel.
How our conversation is going.
Yeah.
So really exciting stuff. We're getting closer and closer to crowning a champion.
This is going to be a wild top 4.
Yeah.
And that round of 8, like Best versus Sulky and
Yeah.
Flash versus Last. Woo!
That does it for tonight, guys. We love you. We will see you tomorrow in the GSL Codes, so don't miss out.
That was when I ruled the world. You can never take our hearts away. You can never silence what we say. You can't hold us down another day. The revolution is getting closer. Stand up, take a side. Now you know the truth can't be denied. I promise you we won't give up the fight. We're right. till it